Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. We are back. It's that time, ladies and gents. We have got to welcome y'all to the $450 Dead in July Tournament Finals, brought to you for the final time by Hunter of Gunman and Glacier Gaming, who have funded the entirety of this event for the last entire year. So huge shout out to them. That's a gift that no one can repay, but we all appreciate you. And we have got, count them up, ladies and gentlemen, 4 rounds of action, mayhem, and strategy to be getting in with you today. But first and foremost, for those of you who aren't quite acquainted as to who I am, I'm Redeyes, your ever lovable and adorably cuddly caster, bringing you that daily dosage of butt kickery, tomfoolery, and all-around shenaniganism. And we have a stack lobby, but first and foremost, let's go ahead and get into the map so we know what we're working with. It's the very first map ever introduced to this game. I am, of course, speaking of Erangel. And what needs to be said about it? It's basically the off-bred love child of Sandhawk and Miramar, because it is the perfect middle ground between those two extremes, which leaves it fairly reliant upon the flight path to determine what sort of early game we end up getting. And here you can see our participants are left with a perfectly centralized path here. So let's go ahead and get into the thick of it. So as I was saying, you know, we are kicking things off with Erangel, but we have 20 teams competing in here, 12 qualified and 8 invited tier 1 teams. So let's go ahead and show them on the list. Looks like INF already going in. So we've got the likes of NHyper, WhyKayGee, Passionfruit, Mezexis, All Glory, Execute, Infinity, Your Executioner, Bope Esports, XtremeSlayers, Esports, Tiny Fan Club, The Real Aces, Infinity Esports, Lotus, Criminals, Excuse, B-Town, Dark Esports, and the Canadian Eagles. So we're going to get nothing but action right off the bat, I'm hoping. And yes, it looks like we already have a little something on the board. Passionfruit has already gone down a member. Yep. They lost Juancho early on in the process. A little bit of that render as to be expected with the first start of a match here. But they are facing off against none other than the likes of, Infinity Esports. A rough start for the Passionfruit to lose a member this early on. But, ooh, and to add insult to injury, Zuko is taken down as well. And now that leaves everything reliant in the hands of Sixless himself, as well as the main man, Valak. A huge shout out to Valak for sharing the event on his personal profile as well. Really do appreciate that support, man. Well, Sixless and Valak having to weigh their options and bow out of dodge. It was a rough start, not able to get properly looted. But look at this zone. A huge portion is occupied by water and just leaving room for tons of action on the playing field. And let's see, we've got members of NHyper. Looks like they could be in pretty close proximity to Bope Esports, but looks like they're probably trying to bow out of that. And understandably so, it's still very early on. So tell you what, we are going to go work our way down south here to this bridge. And, ooh, all the while I say that, it looks like Execute having a kill right then and there. Let's go check it out. Telly and Trick going in after the Criminals. And yes, Telly just firing away with that DP28 762 LMG, just bringing in the damage. And now Ronaldo is down to almost no health, utilizing the only cover he can behind that boulder, and Telly does secure the thirst. Ooh, taking some side damage, but looks like Ronaldo is the deli meat in a peanut butter and trouble sandwich, just surrounded in a 2-1 split between Execute with nothing but a pistol and no helmet. It was easy pickings, and he didn't have a lot of options there. So the remainder of Dark Esports is now just going to be Noob and On Top, and they have got to try to find a way to carry on and get some placement points for the team, which does bring me to a great point, ladies and gentlemen. We are working with the updated PMPL official scoring structure, meaning that eliminations are going to be placing a bit of a higher emphasis than the previous scoring structure. And also the second part of that is going to be that placement, while it is still extremely important, is going to be less weighted than in the prior scoring system, meaning that as we work our way through this 5th year of PUBG Mobile Esports, we are basically at a level where I think we don't really need to have too much camping, at least not in this cash event. But while it does happen, and understandable for the reasons it does, I do like to keep the ball rolling and keep the action flowing. Hence the branded red eye zones. But, ooh, tell you what we're going to do is going to get eyes once again on Execute, because Fate and Trick Fate and Telly driving right by members of WhyKayGee here. And that is a potentially dangerous situation. Actually, for WhyKayGee there, they have quite a split here. And it does come with certain advantages and certain disadvantages. But if you're, a team like WhyKayGee, you are notoriously known for being comfortable in all different kinds of close quarter combat scenarios, both as a solidified unit and as well as an individual person. So I don't feel too discouraged seeing them in this 3-1 split. This is a team that knows how to handle their 1v1s, and I think they're not too far away from each other that they wouldn't be able to utilize a vehicle to potentially bring some assistance. So where's the next bit of action going to come from? I think what I will do is switch things over to the Pachinki region, where it looks like members of the Old Gangsters and Lotus Esports prepare to face off. Now, Lotus Esports is going to be Fetty, Fishy, Onder, and Gara here. And it looks like they're just prioritizing potentially a rotation out of this position. Now, this is going to be interesting. With all this much zone being occupied by water, it's only going to further limit the participants' options in terms of real estate. So yes, they are going to absolutely need to prioritize a early shift into zone if they want to get that prime positioning. Now we can see Kindness already approaching the area to survey the scene, but his teammate GK First does find a member of the TFC as Shaka is taken down, leaving it up to Treble, Little U, and Dusku. And Treble being shot down to about exactly half health and just desperately trying to evacuate to a position of safety, but in hot pursuit by members of NHyper. Will he be able to get away? I mean, I think honestly in this position, I don't really blame him for bowing out, but that was a call that I'm hoping his team played a part in and was okay with, because otherwise, him bowing out does definitely remove the option, obviously, of him being able to assist the fallen teammates. But I think against a team like NHyper, if you're being contextually specific, yes, it makes sense to bow out in this position. You're outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned, and outside of zone as well. Well, Little U is going to be doing just that, driving right next to the opposition. And look, NHyper forces them to take the altercation, but Little U with the takedown via the shotgun. Oh, but quickly retaliated on by the UMP-45, dished out. NHyper is not playing around. They came to absolutely win that prize pool. Under no circumstances are they giving up any of those easy kills. They came to play. All right, we got the likes of Excuse potentially preparing for an oncoming push from the southbound threat in. Ooh, the real aces. And just like that, Junie a little closer than I thought. That render is some serious business. But that was a quick takedown, bringing Excuse down to a three-piece of 1, 2, 3, Draco and Matt. And the Aces now with their first kill, going to carry on as a full 4-piece, but will they be able to add on to the pressure they've begun putting on the opposition? Well, I'm just going to check around, make sure we're not missing anything else. Yeah, tell you what, on the alt cam, we're going to bring up another potential fight in the making, we'll call it. And that's going to be between members of, pardon me. This is going to be Your Executioner, who are currently sandwiched in between two teams. They got Bope Esports in front, and behind them rests members of... rests members of Excuse. So they are currently the deli meat in a peanut butter and treble sandwich here. And I'm not sure if that's going to amount to much or not. But as for the time being, Excuse and the real Aces at a bit of a wait-off here. A battle of patience, if you will. So we'll bring this up on the main screen. And ladies and gentlemen, if you aren't aware, we are going to be giving away 4 600 UC codes over the course of this evening here. And those will be exclusively on YouTube. So if you're watching on Twitch, please be aware, only match 1 will be on Twitch. The remainder of the event will be broadcasted exclusively on YouTube for the very last time, potentially. But all right, NHyper pushing the last member of the real Aces, Junie, Is that the last member? I'm going to have to double check on that. Fact check. It's one of the last members. Junie and Goat remain, and the caster curse is all too real, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't believe in it before, I hope you do now. Well, that leaves one little mountain goat left, and that's going to be Goat himself, just trying to lay low because he is surrounded by so many teams here. Huge shout out to XtremeSlayers, a tier 1 team that came and earned their positioning in this event. They qualified the hard way, and they're not the only ones. We actually had quite a few teams, ladies and gentlemen, that a lot of tier 1 professional teams come and participate in the action. And on that note, I want to go ahead and give a little thing for it. So yeah, huge shout out to the Canadian Eagles, Excuse, Lotus, Bope, and XtremeSlayers, all of whom qualified the hard way to get into this. The rest of the tier 1s were, of course, invited as per the structure of this event. All right, we're going to catch eyes on WhyKayGee versus Execute. This has been a long time coming. These two teams have been at each other's throats, just waiting out for the right time to strike. And as you can see, 24K has a little bit of blood on the mind, aiming outwards at Telly with that 6X M4, but soaking up almost the same amount of damage as he's able to dish out. This is a tough one for him. It's down to him and Fears here as a 2-piece. Pardon me, as a 3-piece. I'm not sure where their last member is. Oh, but 24K taken down right in front of us here, leaving Fears as the final member of WhyKayGee in this position here, and trying to hold the opposition of Execute off at bay with a little bit of hellfire, trying to throw some mollies to block the way from the aggressive push from Casper. Oh, but it looks like Broda coming in and getting a kill steal, a third-party stolen from Execute. I love it. Well, Fears has a lot to fear right now, as he is the deli meat in a peanut butter and trouble sandwich, and Execute is the bread nonetheless. Now look, all these shots are doubtlessly bringing a little bit of attention to this altercation, and as you can see, we've got members of Infinity potentially working their way in, but now taking a couple bits of sidewind fire from NHyper Esports and from Fears himself. Actually, I withdraw that. Fears was shooting at Telly. My apologies. It was not a takedown on Infinity from him. It was the Infinity knock was from NHyper Esports. So that is my apologies. Now look, NHyper going after Bope now in the distance. Let's catch eyes. And off a little bit ahead of that, we've got members of Mezexis. Yep, Mezexis preparing for an altercation on the alt cam, and they are up against none other than B-Town. Well, XtremeSlayers going after Excuse as well. We'll pull that up here on the main screen. Now, XtremeSlayers, no kills to their name yet, but they did just secure a knock on Excuse's Draco, and unfortunately for Draco, oh, I withdraw that statement. Draco does get a revive by 123, and Matt is left in charge of Overwatch and cover fire, which he does beautifully with a nice takedown on Navi from Galactic. And, oof. Pardon me, your Executioner. All right, well now, Remix off in the distance, getting a takedown. Meanwhile, Frady taken down as well in retaliation. Sorry about that alt cam, ladies and gentlemen. So, Robert trying to utilize the geography where he can to provide some sort of cover, but does he know about Super? I don't think from this positioning that he does. Well, he does get the takedown regardless. Beautiful shots there by Robert GG, and no doubt that definitely was giving his location away like a honing beam to Bope Esports, but Bope Esports as a 2-piece at this point, currently sandwiched in between 3 teams. And on that note, we've actually got two of those 3 teams fighting. It's going to be a little bit of a bullet trade-off between All Glory Gaming, who's got an AFK here in the mix. Gamma and Rojas remain, but Gamma's knocked, so Strap and Rojas remain. And as you can see, trying to prioritize replacing themselves into this new zone. Which brings me to a great point, ladies and gentlemen. If you are dealing with a Redeyes event in general, I'll say, then you are dealing with boosted zone damage, because I don't like the camping. Ooh, Sixless is 86th, and that is a tough one, leaving Valak as the final hope for Passionfruit Esports for round 1, unless he can somehow find a way back there to secure a revive, which he knows is probably not doable at this point. Driving by members of NHyper Esports, his priority is replacing himself in this new zone and trying to at least acquire some decent placement so the hit that Passionfruit took in round 1 can be at least minimalized and had a chance at still winning that first place $400 first place prize, or maybe even the $50 top frag prize. Which brings me to a great point, ladies and gentlemen. While we've got a little bit of downtime, let's go over the structure and format as it currently stands. So we ran 3 rounds of qualifiers, ladies and gentlemen, and in those qualifiers, 20 teams competed, but only 4 from each could advance. As I said, 3 rounds of qualifiers, so that's 12 qualified teams to join the 8 invited Tier 1 professional teams, where they're all duking it right here and now for that $450 prize pool. Well, it looks like Valak is going to be a sneaky little water snake, pulling a Michael Phelps strat here and just trying to sneak his way across the waterway. And luckily for these participants, the zone has crept back inland. And thank goodness for that, because if they were left with that much water, it would be an all-out bloodbath warfare altercation early on. Now, we got members of LTS, this is Lotus Esports, engaging with none other than Mezexis in a 4v3, I believe. Yeah, Mezexis has lost baton fairly early on. Everest, pardon me, just trying to heal up here and enshroud himself in what cover he can, but still taking those side shots from the high ground holders in Lotus. Crow just trying to work his way across the bridge. Can he make it? Well, he does make it to a little bit of a position of safety, but instead of getting a positioning behind the hill to heal, he keeps going for it and has tempted fate a little too much. And that is going to leave Mezexis down to Everest and Skyline, and just swimming in a pool of Lotus members here, a spread out group of Lotus. So that is problematic. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to forgive this spectator glitch. It's been happening all month and has been an absolute atrocity for, observers and casters alike. But, PUBG's doing what they can to get it fixed as soon as possible. So, I think we're going to switch attention to Chico of WhyKayGee. Chico holding position with a little bit of geographical cover over some sneaky little fishies, I'll say, in the shape and form of Executes, Casper, and Telly. Now, I am assuming that Casper and Telly have some understanding of Chico's location, as they are still swimming up in the general region. Looks like NHyper Esports going off in the distance. Now, NHyper at this point is a 2-piece of Aqua, how fitting, Aqua and Deep. Deep taking some distance fire from the opposition in B-Town. Now, I'm going to actually withdraw that statement. It could not possibly be from B-Town. Ooh, Chico is downed right in front of me, but you guys couldn't see because of the alt cam. Oof. Well, let that be a lesson to me. My apologies. Won't be clipped. All right. Well, Galactic, a.k.a. Is this Galactic, actually? It's tough to tell because they have members with the same tags on 2 teams. But I believe it was your Executioner, actually, and they have been finished for round 1. So the closest thing to an altercation on the board is going to be XtremeSlayers up against NHyper. Now, whether or not this is going to amount to anything is yet to be seen. Huge shout out. Hey, guys, welcome in. Thank y'all so much for being here. Just in case any of you guys are unaware, the Dead in Month tournament is now the 2nd longest running community event in North America. It is now in its 30th month. Making it, as I said, the 2nd longest running well, I guess it's somewhat affiliated now. So 2nd longest community event in North America. And it's one of only 2 opportunities to compete against the Tier 1 professionals on a recurrent monthly basis. And the only other opportunity for that is Aftershock Media Group's Titan series. And we are just about to be kicking off that new season. August 3rd is when we're going to be getting into the next Premier Division, I believe. So they are doing that with a $2,000 prize pool every single month, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are not following AMG and Titan series on all social media platforms and on their streaming platforms. You absolutely should. That will be titanseries.gg for their website. Titan Series GG for Instagram. Ooh, GK first is just annihilated there by Remix and quickly thirsted to follow. And that is going to put a huge hurting on Koi. Koi and Kindness, as NHyper is brought down to half of their starting lineup. Koi quickly advancing here, trying to get an off angle on the remainder of XtremeSlayers, but they are not fooled for a bit. And now he finds himself in a 1v2 potentially. And yes, they are spreading out perfectly. XtremeSlayers reacting immediately and in perfect form. Kindness holding back and maintaining that high ground in Overwatch, keeping the pressure on him, but all those shots were like blood in the water. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The Sharks smelled it, and the Sharks in this case are Infinity Esports. Well, Telly being a sneaky little grass snake, and can you blame him at this point, as Execute is now down to just him and him alone. All the placement points are going to fall on him. So yes, at this point, if you are a member, I guess you should say, if you are Telly, then I would say the best bet is to lay low and let these numbers dwindle and try to secure some higher placement, because the odds of you being able to entangle yourself in a 1v3, 1v4 and come out successfully are slim. All right, so where is the next bit of blood going to come from? It's tough to say. Especially with the spectator glitch, it's tough to say, but I'm going to put my eggs in the Canadian Eagles basket up against Telly, just in the off chance that Telly is spotted. And that really wouldn't be that difficult to spot him if you're anybody other than the Canadian Eagles. Lotus Esports getting that high ground on the hilltop, or even the distant member in XtremeSlayers just approaching over that crescent would be able to get a line of sight on Telly. So he is definitely, at this point, stuck in between a rock and a hard space, all too literally. That was my corny dad joke for round one without even intentionally doing it. Well, Hayuya of XtremeSlayers picking now to make his big, bold migration into zone. And this is going to be extra difficult for him because he is going to be driving directly into a two-piece, potentially even a three-piece of Lotus Esports. And on that note, let me just draw attention to how well Lotus is playing this so far. Look at this spread, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 3-1 split technically, but realistically, oh, I apologize. Yes, it is a 3-1 split, and they are basically bullying half of the zone here. But if you notice, only one team is coming up on the left side, and that's the Canadian Eagles. So literally every team on the playing field could be gatekept by Lotus, with exception to the Canadian Eagles. And on that note, let's give a little attention to the Canadian Eagles. While they don't have a whole lot of eliminations on the board, I believe only one by Zara, they do have a lot of opportunity moving forward into this in-game, as they are still a full four-piece. And you know my spiel, ladies and gentlemen, if you've seen my event, you can't put enough emphasis on being a full four-piece come in-game. But as I say that, Telly coming in with blood on the mind and firing away on a two-piece, trying to shoot down two endangered Canadian Eagles here. But boy, the Canadian Eagles are ticked off. Tony B is down by that DP28 from the low ground disadvantage as nades crash on him, bringing him down to half health. Can he take this 1v1 against Baby Tang, as both are facing off at about the same level of health? Well, that shotgun S12 speaks for itself, and Telly leaving his mark, bringing the team up to 10 kills. Wow, Telly has been a solo now for quite some time, at least for 2 stages of the game here. So this is huge. Those extra kills are just icing on the cake, on top of the additional significant placement points that he's able to work their way up from since his teammates have been eliminated. Well, I'm going to switch over briefly. Well, maybe actually. I actually think I'm going to stay here. No, I thought Telly was going to try to get the side angle on the final eagle, Mr. Quinny Poo. Mr. or Miss Quinny Poo, pardon me. But Anders of Lotus Esports potentially is, and I don't think Quinn's smoke here is actually helping him. It's blocking him from seeing Anders advancing forward. And this is going to exemplify one of those occasions where your utilities can be used against you. That's Tactic Talk with Redeyes. And nades crash down on Quinny Poo, and this is case in point. This one is a Tactics Talk that's definitely getting clipped and posted. As Lotus now up to 8 kills and still a full 4-piece come this final in-game, as only 3 teams remain. It's going to be all-out bloodbath warfare from this point on. Look at this. Hayuya's location, not even remotely secret. And that boy just became a bowling pin to the Lotus Esports crew. And now we got ourselves a 4v1. Yeah. Oof. And that's that, ladies and gents. All right. Well, let me see here. Tactics Talk. Well, goodness gracious. That was absolute annihilation. Lotus Esports in full form, winning through and through as a full 4-piece and doing so with an extremely healthy 10 kills to add on to those great placement points, and half of those kills going to Anders alone. Let's give credit to where credit is due. Execute and Telly in specific, being able to work their way all the way up to that silver medal second place finish, and doing so boasting an equally impressive 10 kills. We got XtremeSlayers, ain't nothing wrong with bronze, as they claim 3rd with 7. We got the Canadian Eagles in 4th with 1 kill from Zara, but those placement points are definitely going to help. We got the likes of INF. That's going to be Infinity Esports claiming 5th place with 3 kills. Between Felipe and Pepito. NHyper grabbing 6, but doing so with 9 kills to their name. TFC in 7th, but with 0 kills to speak of. 8th place belongs to the boys in B-Town with 3 between Daku and Kidu. Excused in 9th with 2 kills from Matt. We got Error Esports in 10th with 3. WhyKayGee in 11th with 4. We got members of, pardon me. Yeah, okay, I guess this is going to be... What? All right, this is going to... I'm just going to say that this is your Executioner. Your Executioner in 12th place with 1 kill from Broda. We got Mezexis grabbing 13th with 2 kills. 14th is going to belong to Bope with 3 between Fuego and Supra. Passionfruit dropping from the tree in 15th place, but with 0 kills to speak of. And GYE, now this is actually your Executioner as well. So, oh, okay, pardon me. INF is going to be, yeah, INF is Infinity, or GAL is their tag. Okay, so that is extremely confusing. GYE is your Executioner, though. Let's see, Mezexis in 13th with 2 kills between Everest and Baton. The Boat Boys in 14th with 3. I said Passionfruit in 15th with 0. GYE, that's your Executioner, in 16th with 0. We got AGG, that's going to be All Glory Gaming, entering as a 3-piece, but with 0 kills to their name. It's going to be a tough one to come back from. We got TRA, the Real Aces, claiming 18th with 1 kill from Junie. Dark Esports in 19th, but with 0 kills to speak of, and keeping up with that trend. The Criminals finding themselves sent right on back to lobby, where crime does not pay, with 0 kills as a 3-piece. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is just one match out of the way. But that was Erangel, our first map ever introduced to PUBG Mobile. So it's the map that I always say our participants should be most acquainted with, most familiarized with, and most synergized and rehearsed on. So what's going to happen when we change up the geography a bit and move to that dry, wide open, arid desert? I am, of course, speaking for Miramar as we return for round 2 in just a few short moments with my $450 Dead in July tournament finals, brought to you and sponsored by, for the last time, Hunter of Gunmen, Glacier Gaming. Huge shout out to them. And also sponsored in part by Crafton, Lightspeed Studios, and Level Infinite. Stick around, guys. We'll be back soon. Alrighty, y'all, you cutie patooties, welcome back to round 2. I said, come on now. I said, welcome back to round 2 of my very own Redeyes $450 Dead in July Tournament Finals. Brought to you and sponsored by, for the last month after an amazing year, Hunter of Gunman and Glacier Gaming. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, those two funded the entirety of this event out of the kindness of their heart, asking for nothing in return, asking for zero recognition, asking for nothing. So all they wanted to do was something nice for the community that they care about. So if you appreciated this event over the past year, please be sure to reach out to them and let them know how thankful you are for this past year that they gave us. And moving forward, we do have a big announcement to make at some point, potentially even during the stream. But for now, we are already in the thick of it, that dry, wide open, arid desert of Miramar. And now what do we need to say about Miramar? Essentially, it's our largest map in the game. Now, technically, that's not true, as Erangel is also an 8x8, but that includes Erangel's bodies of water. So realistically, this is the largest map, meaning that the odds of two teams landing next to each other is going to be a bit slimmer. But it's also the most open map that we have in the game. So the odds of you being sniped from 300 meters away are just exponentially higher. So you need to be aware of not just your immediate surroundings, but your distant as well. And the third and final thing is that the flight path is a very strong determinant of the early or first half of the match that we're going to see here. And as you can see, they were left with an almost perfectly centralized path. Just nothing but options to choose from here to start things off. And already we might be getting into the thick of it with some action. It looks like, yeah, okay, we're going to go switch on over here. Sorry about that intro and about that graphic there. So, yeah, we are going to go ahead and get into the thick of it here. We have so many altercations to choose from. It looks like Criminals and Bope. It looks like the Canadian Eagles dropping by. Error. We've got just nothing but options here. As we move up a little bit further north, we can actually see members of Passionfruit and B-Town not far from each other outside of the Hacienda del Patron area. Moving our way even further inbound to the Crater Fields, looks like a member of Execute is literally swimming in a pool of trouble in the shape of Infinity Esports. And that's going to be none other than the friendly ghost Casper. And boy, surrounded on 4 sides, he is basically the center point for bad news at this stage, with nothing but a melee weapon and a pistol here to hold on to and defend himself. Looks like members of INF in the distance going off. Now, just in case you guys are in need of a slot list, INF gonna be, ooh, well, regardless of who INF is, the friendly ghost it does not look like GAL believes in ghosts. Let's just put it that way. So we are going to go ahead and just keep an eye on Infinity Esports off in the distance. Yeah, it looks like they are going to face off with the remainder of Execute, which at this point is Fate and Telly. Telly just quickly acquiring that vehicle. And after an amazing performance in round 1, them being reduced down to half their starting lineup is definitely a tough hit to swallow early on. But I do believe that, you know, if we learned anything from round 1, it's that you can't necessarily rule out Execute even as a solo. Ooh, but Zara was very much met with error by Air Esports. These dad jokes are, on my end, are just getting so corny that even I'm cringing, but I can't stop. I want you all to know that I hear it too, but I just can't help it. All right, well, let's go check in on the Criminals. Now, I believe Criminals were sent back to lobby fairly early on, if I'm not mistaken, with 0 kills as a 3-piece, if memory is serving correctly. I do apologize if I'm incorrect, but I'm pretty sure that's right. But it looks like somebody here taking down a Canadian Eagle. Yep, that's the Thirst on Zara, which is going to leave it up to Quinny, Tony, and Baby Tang. But all the while, WhyKayGee having at it in the distance as they lose Joey, one of their star players early on. It's going to be reliant upon 24K Chico and Fears and 24K dishing it out in full, getting that retaliatory takedown on Goat. And now that's going to be a little bit of revenge served out on a platter. But as you can see, Quinny Poo, the final remaining eagle here, has... Oh, pardon me, he's not the final remaining eagle. Quinny Poo has flown the nest, is what we'll say. But he is driving around with Baby Tang and Tony, running into criminals, trying to dial back and correct the error, driving southbound. Unfortunately for them, it's going to put them in between two teams pretty significantly. They've got air beneath them, criminals above them, and that's a rough one to swallow, because no matter what, unless they do that westbound flank rotation, wide flank rotation, they're likely going to have to face off against some team here to work their way in. So, where's the next bit of blood going to come from if that is the case? Well, a little bit of a spread here on the board, as you can see. And that does tend to be the nature of Miramar, you know. Actually, you know, that tends to be the nature of large maps, you know, sometimes. It's just dealing with bits of downtime and pockets of silence. But you know what I always say, ladies and gentlemen, is a more passive early game is going to be a more action-packed in-game. But here we have it. Chico dishing out the damage as Junie is fallen very quickly, bringing WhyKayGee up to their second kill. And Chico preemptively firing away. Scar-L UMP combo and getting another takedown on Grumpy, bringing them up to 3 kills in just a matter of moments. So, I still think this is going to be interesting. Yes, and as you can see now here, down south, the Canadian Eagles are being constricted upon, I should say, by two teams, Criminals and Error, both closing in on the Eagles here. And that's why I'm going to come tune in just to make sure we don't miss any significant action. But nothing else really happening on the playing field at this moment. As I was saying, tends to be the occasional nature of PUBG Mobile with large maps. We get these pockets of silence, pockets of in-between time, but it always translates to a more action-packed and climactic mid-or-end game. So while we have a brief moment, once again, we'll go over the format and structure as it currently stands. So we had 20 teams competing in the qualifiers, and of those 20 teams, only 4 could advance. Now, we ran 3 qualifiers, so that's 12 qualified teams to join the 8 invited Tier 1 professional teams, where they're all duking it out right here and now for that $450 prize pool. So, what's going to happen on the playing field? Okay, yeah, we're going to go and check out All Glory Gaming. Now, they had a pretty rough start in round 1, and it does look like they might be lining up for more trouble. But also, we can see down south, a member of Criminals, in particular, Pedro, potentially about to get flown on by the Canadian Eagles. So I will put that up on the alternate map. Alrighty. So, as you can see, Criminals Pedro shot out from the vehicle in front of us by Tony with a Mini 14. It is not easy to knock someone out of a vehicle with a DMR. That takes precision shots and maybe even a slower target, but the deed is done any way you look at it. So, where's the next bit of blood gonna come from? Okay, yep, here we go. It's gonna be between NHyper and B-Town potentially, as FSS closes ground on members of B-Town, particularly Jassa. Now, Jassa would be a high ground advantage holder here over FS, which is explaining to a certain extent his level of hesitation here to show himself. And just for the record, let's get it from B-Town's perspective as well. Oop. Let's try to get it from B-Town's perspective. Yeah, Jassa here, holding position M4 3X, aimed outwards at GK first. Not getting a lick of connecting damage, but definitely bringing some attention onto him and making his location known for the opposition. So, tell you what, we'll get up both sides of this altercation. Just while we have a moment, let's make use of both the devices. So, on the alt cam, FS holding his own, just waiting for the push from Jassa. As you can see, Jassa a little bit patient here, waiting for some reinforcement from his teammates. Off in the side angle, we just saw NHyper's Kindness driving up to the warehouse, and in the distance, the supply drop tempting both teams. All right, well, Jassa gonna quickly reorient himself as his teammates come to join the party, but looks like, yes, NHyper coming up to the party as well. FSS now has gained the high ground. Kindness firing away and potentially saved FSS from a side knock. Quickly reorienting himself and not taking attention away from Kiddu, and pretty smart of him to do that, because that 3-1 split can be very, very dangerous for a team like NHyper, who can tend to start seeing red and focusing in. They're not afraid of fights, so they definitely are eager for those confrontations, but in doing so, they could lose a little bit of attention on this off-angle holder, Kiddu. Luckily, it's GK first coming in from the back angle and taking Kiddu out of the equation. Quickly reorienting his attention to Jassa, and now it's going to be up to Kindness to add on to the damage his teammate just dealt. Yeah, as you can see, Daku is a little injured. A preemptive nade being cooked up here by Kindness, and ooh, a retaliatory nade by Jassa. Who's going to hit? Kindness is taken down to just above half health. He's got another nade where that came from, and it still does not get a single damage point taken to Jassa. However, Kindness is retaliated on and quickly knocked. Koi dishing out a little bit of damages as well, but actually it's going to just be oh, pardon me, it's actually going to be GK first with the takedown, and quickly getting a little bit of loot from his elimination. Now, it looks like he's off in the distance dealing with what was a separate altercation altogether. Oh, and just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing 4 600 UC code giveaways tonight, and I just want to make sure everyone is aware of that. We intentionally did not give them out in round 1 because round 1 was multicasted, and so now we are here and ready to go. All right, FSS quickly focusing on TFC, and Murta is just Murta. 6x M4 single tap, and what? Oh, for a second I thought that the kill was stolen in a third party, but no, he does secure that elimination, bringing him up to 2 kills and the team up to 3. So I am curious. I think GK first is the guy to keep an eye on here. Actually, just NHyper in general, because they are sandwiched in between the tiny fan club and the low ground holders in B-Town. And ooh, GK first taking a lick of damage and swallowing the rest of that damage right then and there. Quickly thirsted as to follow, leaving everything reliant upon Koi, Kindness, and FS here. And they are quickly retaliating upon the likes of B-Town, as Katri is focused in on nades rain down upon him, and Katri is taken down from behind by none other than FS. Daku is the final hope now for the B-Town boys, firing away with that M249 LMG, but it is not going to be enough, and the close quarter combat annihilator from NHP Koi's UMP 45 seals the deal. All right, well, a little bit of a spread elsewhere, but as you can see, Passionfruit's Valak is actually Valak and Sixless going to encapsulate the likes of WhyKayGee. I don't know if this is going to amount to much confrontation, but as you can see off in the distance, Fate has called, and it's called out for who? I'm not sure who they just eliminated, but I had that dad joke and pun ready, and it looks like whoever they took out, oh yeah, it was going to be none other than your Executioner's Hunter of Gunmen, one of the amazing 2 sponsors of the past year. But there is no special treatment up against the likes of these T1 pros. Juancho firing away down upon WhyKayGee, single tapping that 6x Scar L combo. However, whether or not he has given attention to this side flank by XtremeSlayers is yet to be seen. And on that note, I think I'm going to bring XtremeSlayers up on the alt cam. Make sure we don't miss any good action. We see Hayuya firing upwards. Robert GG quickly on the advance, and he's got Sixless and Juancho just potentially about to bring a world of hurt. Juancho turned his back to Robert and quickly suffered the consequences. But look at this remix with a monster nade, taking Zuko out of the equation. And it looks like he is going to secure the thirst on Zuko right then and there. Let's see. Valak and Sixless holding position here up against the oncoming looming threat in WhyKayGee. However, WhyKayGee is a bit of a low ground disadvantage. They would have to be, yeah? Yeah. Well, maybe not, actually. Potentially, NHyper stands to get the only high ground available over them. But Mezexis going off in the distance as Crow has found a corpse to feast on. We're going to go ahead and switch over to that on the alt cam. He is already up to 2 kills, both of the teams 2, and just in time as they were able to get those revives on Everest and Baton in the moment. Koi off in the distance getting the retaliatory takedown, giving just enough time for Kindness to be revived. And now quickly reorienting his attention to the remainder of XtremeSlayers, firing down upon Remix. Remix down at about half health, but not soaking up a single extra bullet of damage in the process from those bullets from Koi's spray. However, it does look like we have several altercations on the board, ladies and gentlemen. Koi facing off against multiple Passionfruit members, and further down south, we see members of LTS, Lotus Esports, about to square off against the Canadian Eagles. We're hearing some shots here and now on our boys in NHyper. We got eyes on Kindness firing far southeast down upon Esports. Going to exemplify a great geographical point that I brought up in the beginning of the match, is that you have to be aware of not just your immediate but distant surroundings as well. Now look how far away Bope Fuego is, but that does not stand with Koi of NHyper, because that 6x import is going to reach the target, no doubt. Those bullets can definitely string out well over 200 meters in this case, up, probably up to about 350, maybe maxing out around like the 330, 340 range. But again, this high ground and elevation is just additional overwatch, and in this particular case, it's a 360-degree angle of overwatch. So it is a phenomenal position, only bested by one spot and one spot only, and that's going to be WhyKayGee. Now, keep in mind, when I say bested only, I just mean in terms of high ground. As you can see, NHyper is still slightly outside of the zone, but now firing outwards, I doubt that they have any attention given to Chico, who is about to steal some kills. We got Bope getting the takedown on Matt of XtremeSlayers Esports, but very likely to be swimming in a pool of trouble right here and now. All the while, we got just the high ground Overwatch king of the hill, Chico of WhyKayGee Esports, just bringing an onslaught of trouble with his Overwatch onto NHyper. All right, well, that is a takedown, leaving Koi desperate to try to distract Chico while FSS attempts to go secure a revive. Now, Koi is successfully distracting, but in the process, he is very likely to be eliminated. He is just wide open and fish in a barrel here for Chico. All the while, it looks like Excuses Kai preparing for a gatekeep on Bope Esports' Ophelia. Ophelia trying to decide whether to work his way in by Excuse or maybe potentially a southwest wide flank rotation into zone. But if so, they would run into Lotus. Now Ophelia is gonna face trouble from the big Overwatch champ here right now. He sees everything, and you can't hide. Well, all the while, Excuse facing off against NHyper, and Kai, it's working out in this position, in this specific context, beautifully for him. But boy, in general, I am not a fan of these shacks. I think that those 4 walls are a false sense of security, and realistically, all someone needs to know is that you're in there and be close enough to throw a nade through any slit in the window, and it's fish in a barrel. Rojas of All Glory trying to hold the opposition off at bay, the opposition being the low ground holders in Bope Esports, before reorienting his attention to the forward threat in Lotus, but disregarding the high ground holders of WhyKayGee as Fears joins Chico up in this high ground Overwatch and just brings in all these easy eliminations. All right, well, as you can see, Supra attempting to secure a revive on his fallen teammate is actually picked off in the process. You gotta fear the king. All right, well, Fears wasting no time before reorienting his attention onto the remainder of XtremeSlayers Esports. But fairly soon, they are going to need to prioritize a new positioning into this smaller zone. Bringing me to another point, ladies and gentlemen, if you are familiar with PUBG Esports, or if you are just now tuning in, the nature of PUBG is that this zone is going to shrink throughout the duration of this match into a series of phases and zones. And as that zone shrinks, the damage it dishes out to be in that blue zone, soaking up that damage, is going to be increased incrementally. So our participants are going to be forced into smaller quarters each zone and being forced to engage in these altercations, whether they like it or not. Well, I guess we're going to keep here on Dark Esports. They are potentially going to be facing off against XtremeSlayers. As you can see, Amrit took a tough knock there. Looks like WhyKayGee just continuing this onslaught, now with a molly on a member of XtremeSlayers, and in the time since we switched to them, they've gone up to 7 kills. All the while, the full 4-piece in Mezexis, remember what I always say, can't put enough emphasis on being a full 4-piece come in-game. They got 4 kills to their name, but they are still a full 4-piece. Baton now adding onto it, taking Amrit down for his second knock in just a few short minutes. And this is really tough for Dark Esports and XtremeSlayers potentially, because they are sandwiched in between Mezexis and Passionfruit, and that is in between a rock and a hard place, metaphorically speaking. Baton firing away, he's down to literally 2 clips with that UMP. So it's an interesting choice of weaponry for those distance altercations, or mid-range altercations, I should say. Now the high ground holders here, Lotus Esports' Gara firing downward, taking Baton down to about 4/5 of his overall health, but also getting a few bullets on the vehicle to add insult to injury. Now look, Crow advancing, trying to feast and turn Lotus Esports into a corpse, make it a feast for crows. I love Game of Thrones, and these dad jokes are cringy. All right, well, you know what? I like to be a little bit unpredictable, ladies and gentlemen, so it's time for our first UC code of the night. If you're watching, the link is going to be redeemable only by clicking at the top of the YouTube chat. You can also just type in UC code redeem link PUBG Mobile. It'll take you there. But the first code is going to be CKEQZOMZ33C. That's redeemable only at the link at the top of the YouTube chat. Now remember, future registration for this event will be opening up soon at redeyesofficial.com, www.redeyesofficial.com. And make sure you guys like and subscribe for more events to come. All right. Well, now we've got the Lotus boys quickly advancing upon Mezexis potentially here. Actually, I withdraw that. It's Crow working his way up to the party and cooking up a little bit of a utility here. Unfortunately, I do feel, pardon me, I do feel like this nade is going, or smoke is going to actually be giving away his location more so than helping him get some cover. But Crow reorients his attention down to 6-less and does secure the knock. Now, is that worth it here when he doesn't have the angle to get a kill, and Lotus Esports is clearly the more immediate threat? Well, tell you what, we will catch our eyes on the alt cam as well, as Chico quickly driving up to face off against Passionfruit. 6-less just revived. It's just a few bullets into him to take him right on back down again. But look, Fears, Chico's only teammate, taken down in retaliation here. So tell you what, we are going to bring Fears up on the main screen. Pardon me, Chico up on the main screen here and see what he's got. Well, he's going to be holding position and letting these numbers dwindle. Can you blame him? At this point, he's just going to be basically a solo. So, yeah, let him dwindle. Ooh, well, Fishy got fished out by none other than Baton of Mezexis Esports. Dark Esports, once again, working their way back up to a full 4-piece before I caster curse him right on back down to a 3. All right. And, yep, Chico is going to be trying to secure a risky revive here on his fallen teammate, going to exemplify just how crucial those utilities can become in-game. When compound cover and geographical cover can become few and far between, that's when those utilities can be the life-saving variable here in PUBG Mobile. Well, they do quickly regain that small compound cover. Now, remember what I said. Those 4 walls can put a false sense of security in your head. But as a 2-piece, I do think it might be the move here for WhyKayGee. And again, they are a notoriously well-known Tier 1 pro team, and they don't need my help one bit. All right, well, Chico is taking some retaliatory damage. He's firing outwards upon Dark Esports, but swallowed a lot more damage. Pardon me, Chico swallowed a lot more damage than he was able to dish out there. Chico responsible for 60% of the team's kills so far, bringing me to a great point. WhyKayGee, even as a 2-piece, just such a formidable threat. And ladies and gentlemen, we are down to our final 3 teams. It's a 4v4v2. Dark Esports, Mezexis Esports, and WhyKayGee to end round 2. Well, Baton is going to be taking out Armret right there, and then... And Chico going to make his aggressive push outwards in a vehicle, trying to utilize this, the dead vehicle here, the standard on map 1, and utilizing what bits of cover is afforded in just a blank open field here, and understandably so. So, Baton with another nade. This time he gets 2 birds, 1 stone. Ronaldo and Noob taken down, and you know that advance from Baton comes in, and he gets the full 3-piece all on his own. Oh, but boy, oh boy, all those shots sent his location out like a honing beam, and Chico was able, oh, pardon me, King was able to capitalize with that takedown on him. However, Revenge dished out in full form and outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned. Any way you look at it, ladies and gentlemen, that's got to be game over, and you got to give it up. Mezexis Esports in a phenomenal performance, boasting an extremely healthy 13 kills just between 3 of their players. And along with that gold medal, first place, chicken dinner on the tip of their tongue finish, that's 10 extra placement points to add into it, ladies and gentlemen. Just in case you need a reminder, we are doing the updated PMPL scoring structure where eliminations are given higher emphasis than the prior structure. WhyKayGee, much better around this time with silver medal, 2nd place finish, and doing so with a extremely healthy 10 kills. And get this, 9 of those 10 kills are between Chico and Fears alone. Dark Esports getting bronze with 3rd place between Ronaldo and On Top, holding up 4 kills. We got Lotus in 4th with, wow, 8 kills, 5 of which go to Fetty. Passionfruit dropping into 5th place with 2 kills between Sixless and Valak. The XtremeSlayers in 6th with 3. The Criminals doing much better this time around with a 7th place finish, getting some placement points and 1 elimination to add on to it by Durkio. Air Esports in 8th with 1 kill from Deep. We got Excuse in 9th with 3. The Canadian Eagles landing into 10th place with 3 kills between Quinny and Tony. The TFC group in 11th with 2 kills from Trouble. Bope Esports in 12th with 4 kills, all of which came from Ophelia. Execute getting 13th this time around. A little bit tougher of a pill to swallow, but 3 eliminations to their name thanks to fate. We got All Glory Gaming in 14th, but with 1 kill from Ragad. We got NHyper in 15th, but with 7 kills to speak of. Infinity, actually, pardon me, I do remember this. INF has that other tag, so yeah, while Infinity, you'd think that would be INF, it's not. Okay, yes it is. I have an incorrect tag here provided. That's all it is. Infinity in 16th place with 2 kills, 1 from Lux and 1 from Felipe. Then, okay, so this GAL says that they are Infinity. Okay, we have Infinity, 2 Infinity teams. So, we have Infinity Esports in 16th, and then the Infinity Gals in 17th, with 1 kill from Broda, GAL from Broda. I think GAL stands for Galaxy or Galactic, something like that. The Real Aces in 18th with 1 kill to the GOAT. We got Your Executioner shimmying their way into 19th, but with only a 3-piece to contend with, they are putting up 0 kills. And lastly, 20th place goes to the boys in B-Town with 1 kill to Katri. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's 2 maps down and out of the way, but we still have one more new map to get into here before we end things where it began. Now, we've seen our participants on the very first map ever of Erangel before we took things over to that dry, open, arid desert of Miramar. But what's going to happen when we change up the scenery a bit and close things in on that lush, condensed rainforest / jungle? I am, of course, speaking of Sandhawk as we return for round 3 of 4 of my very own Redeyes $450 Dead in July tournament finals, brought to you and sponsored by, for the very last month ever, Hunter of Gunmen and Glacier Gaming, and also brought to you in part by Level Infinite, Lightspeed Studios, and Craft In Game Union. Stick around, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back soon. Lotus. Crow just trying to work his way across the bridge. Can he make it? Well, he does make it to a little bit of a position of safety, but instead of getting a positioning behind the hill to heal, he keeps going up from, since his teammates have been eliminated. Well, I'm going to switch over briefly. Maybe, actually. I actually think I'm going to stay here. I thought Tully was going to try to get the side angle on the final eagle, Mr. Quinny Poo. Mr. or Miss Quinny Poo, pardon me. But Anders of Lotus Esports potentially is, and I don't think Quinn's smoke here is actually helping him. It's blocking him from seeing Anders advancing forward. And this is going to exemplify one of those occasions where your utilities can be used against you. Up from, since his teammates have been eliminated. Well, I'm going to switch over briefly. Well, maybe, actually. I actually think I'm going to stay here. Now, I thought Tully was going to try to get the side angle on the final eagle, Mr. Quinny Poo. Mr. or Miss Quinny Poo, pardon me. But Anders of Lotus Esports potentially is, and I don't think Quinn's smoke here is actually helping him. It's blocking him from seeing Anders advancing forward. And this is going to exemplify one of those occasions where your utilities can be used against you. Like this nade is going, or smoke is going to actually be giving away his location more so than helping him get some cover. But Crow reorients his attention down to sixless and does secure the knock. Now, is that worth it here when he doesn't have the angle to get a kill, and Lotus Esports is clearly the more immediate threat? Well, I'll tell you what, we will catch eyes on the alt cam as well as Chico quickly driving up to face off against Passionfruit. Sixless just revived. It's just a few bullets into him to take him right on back down again. But look, fears Chico's only teammate just that driving right next to the opposition. And look, NHyper forces them to take the altercation. But Little You with the takedown via the shotgun. Oh, but quickly retaliated on by the UMP 45, dished out. NHyper is not playing around. They came to absolutely win that prize pool. Under no circumstances are they giving up any of those easy kills. They came to play. All right, we got the likes of Excuse potentially preparing for an oncoming push from the southbound threat in. Ooh, the real aces. And just like that, Junie a little closer than I thought. You're in there and be close enough to throw a nade through any slit in the window, and it's fish in a barrel. Rojas of All Glory trying to hold the opposition off at bay, the opposition being the low ground holders in Bope Esports, before reorienting his attention to the forward threat in Lotus, but disregarding the high ground holders of WhyKayGee as Fears joins Chico up in this high ground Overwatch and just brings in all these easy eliminations. All right, well, as you can see, Supra attempting to secure a revive on his fallen teammate is actually picked off in the process. While I say that, it looks like Execute having a kill right then and there. Let's go check it out. Telly and Trick going in after the criminals. And yes, Telly just firing away with that DP28 762 LMG, just bringing in the damage. And now Ronaldo is down to almost no health, utilizing the only cover he can behind that boulder, and Telly does secure the thirst. Ooh, taking some side damage, but looks like Ronaldo is the deli meat in a peanut butter and trouble sandwich, just surrounded in a 2-1 split between Execute with nothing but a pistol and no helmet. It was easy pick. We're going to catch eyes on WhyKayGee versus Execute. This has been a long time coming. These two teams have been at each other's throats, just waiting out for the right time to strike. And as you can see, 24K has a little bit of blood on the mind, aiming outwards at Telly with that 6X M4, but soaking up almost the same amount of damage as he's able to dish out. This is a tough one for him. It's down to him and Fears here as a 2-piece. Pardon me, as a 3-piece. I'm not sure where their last member is. Oh, but 24K taken down right in front of us here, leaving Fears as the final member of WhyKayGee in this position here, club, and the low ground holders in B-Town. And ooh, GK First taking a lick of damage and swallowing the rest of that damage right then and there. Quickly thirsted as to follow, leaving everything reliant upon Koi, Kindness, and FS here, and they are quickly retaliating upon the likes of B-Town as Katri is focused in on nades rain down upon him, and Katri is taken down from behind by none other than FS. Daku is the final hope now for the B-Town boys, firing away with that M249 LMG, but it is not going to be enough, and the close quarter combat annihilator from NHP Koi's UMP45 seals the deal. All right, well, Jassa gonna quickly reorient himself as his teammates come to join the party, but looks like, yes, NHyper coming up to the party as well. FSS now has gained the high ground. Kindness firing away and potentially saved FSS from a side knock. Quickly reorienting himself and not taking attention away from Kiddu, and it's pretty smart of him to do that, because that 3-1 split can be very, very dangerous for a team like NHyper, who can tend to start seeing red and focusing in. They're not afraid of fights. They definitely are follow, and that is going to put a huge hurting on Koi, bringing Koi and Kindness, as NHyper is brought down to half of their starting lineup. Koi quickly advancing here, trying to get an off angle on the remainder of XtremeSlayers, but they are not fooled for a bit, and now he finds himself in a 1v2 potentially, and yes, they are spreading out perfectly. XtremeSlayers reacting immediately and in perfect form. Kindness holding back and maintaining that high ground in Overwatch, keeping the pressure on him, but all those shots were like blood in the water, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The Sharks smelled it, and the Sharks in this case are Infinity Esports on the Criminals. Now, I believe Criminals were sent back to lobby fairly early on, if I'm not mistaken, with 0 kills as a 3-piece, if memory is serving correctly. I do apologize if I'm incorrect, but I'm pretty sure that's right. But it looks like somebody here taking down a Canadian Eagle. Yep, that's the thirst on Zara, which is going to leave it up to Quinny, Tony, and Baby Tang. But all the while, WhyKayGee having at it in the distance as they lose Joey, one of their star players early on. It's going to be reliant upon 24K Chico and Fears, and 24K dishing it out in full. Here, the standard on map 1, and utilizing what bits of cover is afforded in just a blank open field here, and understandably so. So, Baton with another nade. This time he gets 2 birds, 1 stone. Ronaldo and Noob taken down, and you know that advance from Baton comes in, and he gets the full 3-piece all on his own. Oh, but boy, oh boy, all those shots sent his location out like a honing beam, and Chico was able, King was able to capitalize with that takedown on him. However, Revenge dished out what was a separate altercation altogether. Oh, and just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing 4 600 UC code giveaways tonight, and I just want to make sure everyone is aware that we intentionally did not give them out in round 1 because round 1 was... Well, alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to round 3 of my very own Redeyes $450 Dead in July Tournament Finals, brought to you and sponsored by, for the very last time, Hunter of Gunmen and Glacier Gaming. And what is going on with this? It is not looking like this is supposed to be happening. So tell you what I'm going to do in the heat of the moment here is I'm going to bring this alt cam up and make that go all the way to the max size. Let's see, fit to screen. Oh, whoops. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I see why that's happening too. So, just for this brief moment while I get this emulator restarted, I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but as you can see, we've got a little bit of a spread. What do we need to say about Sandhawk? Basically the opposite of our last match, which was Miramar. This one is actually going to be our smallest map. Now, technically, Livic, Karakin, and Noosa are all tinier, but we don't really mess with those in the esports scene. So this is going to be the smallest map that we got, meaning that the odds of 2 teams landing next to each other is going to be exponentially higher. But it's also the most condensed map that we have in the game. Now, what do I mean when I say condensed? I mean most lush and vegetation. There's more natural cover to take, more grass to hide inside, and trees and boulders to hide behind. So you need to be alert for a higher than average number of snakes than usual. And the third and final thing that I want to say is that this map is so condensed. Now, it's also, pardon me, this map is so small that you can get pretty much anywhere you want regardless of the flight path. So, as you can see here, Trouble already engaging on to B-Town and dishing out a huge load of damage to Jasa. Whether or not that is going to amount to anything from this distance is yet to be seen, but the damage has been dealt and Trouble is very much in full effect. But as you can see, yeah, they did secure that revive. All the while, XtremeSlayers having a tough go of it up against none other than their opponents in Team 15, who is, of course, the real Aces. Now, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I am just rejoining the match here on my emulator, and we should be able to get things a little bit more tended to. Yep, there we go. Ooh. Sorry about that. Well, whatever. I'll worry about that later. And to get myself off this, and... Voila! Ooh, well, the Glacier has been taken down by none other than Mezexis' Crow. Now, Mezexis, very, very much feeling that momentum factor and the confidence factor after they just tasted that chicken dinner on the tip of their tongue in round 2. Now, can they maintain that into round 3 with a completely different geography? And I say this all the time. Ooh, well, Midnight falls to Crow as well, and he is now responsible for half of the team's kills. I say this pretty frequently, but different maps implement different geography. And what does different geography insinuate, I should say? Different strategies. And also, what are words? Different strategies need to be implemented. What works so well on a map like Miramar is probably not going to be the ticket for this lush, condensed jungle of Sandhawk, and vice versa. So you got to be able to be adaptable in the moment. Well, speaking of in the moment, Katri has no time to get distracted as he is being swarmed on by TFC members like mosquitoes in a hot North Carolina summer, and little you just dropped a little knock to Little Thirst and sent him back to a little lobby. All the while, YKG's Joey, with revenge on the mind for last match, trying to go out and make a little bit more impact on the outcome of this round, at the very least. He is responsible for both of the team's 2 kills. And we'll see if he can continue it. Another team I've got a close eye on is Execute, you know, who performed just phenomenally in round 1, but then a lot of that progress was undone, unfortunately, in round 2 with a rough finish. So it could be up in the air. This match definitely is going to hold some heavy weight for them in terms of, you know, the possibility of them qualifying for that prize pool. And just in case you aren't aware, one more time, 20 teams competed in every qualifier, and of those 20 teams, 4 could advance per qualifier. 3 qualifiers, so that's 12 qualified teams plus 8 invited Tier 1 pros, where they're going to be duking it out over 4 quick matches here tonight for that $450 prize pool, $400 first place prize, and $50 top frag prize, brought to you for one last time by Hunter of Gunman and Glacier Gaming. And speaking of Hunter and Gunman and Glacier Gaming, it looks like a member of Hunter's team, Navi, was able to get a quick takedown on an opponent in INF. Now, this is interesting because this, I believe, is Glacier's team up against Hogs. Well, Hog does secure the thirst on Felipe, while Navi secures her own thirst. However, it's hunting season, and Hogs are definitely on the menu. Bacon is served here. That's going to leave Navi as the final hope here, and you can't blame him or her for dipping out of dodge and trying to at least acquire some better placement for the team. So where's the next bit of blood going to come from? We got NHyper Esports' Classy here. Let me get this a little bit further on him. Where is he? Oh, he just worked his way on in right past members of the Canadian Eagles. He's got a bit of a 2-1-1 split to worry about from the Canadian Eagles, but as it looks like Baby Tang and Tony B are working their way southbound away from it. But as I say that, Baby Tang is orienting his attention closer towards Classy, so definitely something to keep an eye on. But as for now, oh, you know what? I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, good. For a second there, I thought that I had the iPad sound on, and that would have been awful. All right. Where should we get our attention to then? Lots of open territory here. So you know what? Yeah, may as well. Well, we got a little bit of downtime. We are doing 4 600 UC code giveaways to our viewers today. And we've already given away 1. So without further ado, it's time for yet another, the second 600 UC code for the night. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? It's only 1 redeemed for it. So it's first come, first serve. Redeemable at the link at the top of the YouTube chat. And here it is. CKEQZONZA4V. That's first come, first serve. Best of luck to you. Brought to us in courteous supply by the amazing folks at Lightspeed Studios. So huge shout out to them and Level Infinite for making that a possibility for us. Where is the blood gonna come from? I'm gonna get eyes on Grumpy and Blank of the Real Aces. Why? Because they have a potential, I actually was gonna say a potential nearby threat. I was looking at XtremeSlayers, but that is very much this spectator glitch, which is just absolutely a hassle for now. But I apologize to the viewers because I know it's frustrating for you to imagine being the caster and for numerous events that have to deal with this. Everyone in PUBG is in the same boat and dealing with it, but the developers are very well aware and are working on it. Look at this, WhyKayGee pulling a cliffside flank. And it looks like Joey barely making it to this cliff edge here and using that geographical cover to his advantage just in the nick of time to heal up and try to get this first aid off. And he's got plenty of those to do so with 7 first aids to his name. While Chico provides the overwatch and cover fire, Fears and 24K doing a little bit of the same. Now, inbound in boot camp, as you can see on the map, pardon me, inbound on boot camp, they have to worry about members of Team 14. That is going to be none other than TFC, the Tiny Fan Club. And I think YKG is going to reprioritize getting prime real estate into this new zone, maybe some more central territory. But for now, this is the position, right by the bridge. And I think that leaves our closest confrontation to be in this little hurdle here in this central portion of zone between YKG, Passionfruit, All Glory, and Excuse and Mezexis. There's a huge hurdle here, and with members of Execute migrating northbound from the south end of zone, it could add more trouble to the equation. So let's get eyes. Now, I think we'll start off with XtremeSlayers, seeing as they're just a two-piece of Robert and Remix at this point. Now, being reduced to half their starting lineup means that they're going to have to dial things back and play from a reserve standpoint, and so I don't blame him for holding position in that compound, but you know, kills are going to be extremely important here, so he's going to have to keep that in mind. Ooh, looks like, yeah, it's YKG firing from the low ground disadvantage and just sending an onslaught of bullets northbound to Mezexis, but there it is, the retaliation from Skyline onto Fears, leaving it all resting in the hands of Chico, Joey, and 24K. All right, so, yeah, here we go. It's about to be a real tough situation for Little U, and case in point, Little U is out before I could even switch over. Now, YKG up to 6 kills and still carrying on as a full 4-piece. Joey on an absolute berserker warpath here. Same can be said for Chico and Fears and 24K. It's a 2-2-1-1 kill split here. Everyone's doing a good bit of work here. Switch down south where it looks like a member of Bope, that's Fuego, and Horror is taken out by the vehicle explosion from NHyper's FSS. Tough pill to swallow, but swallow it they had to. And now I gotta wonder, you know, with this little portion of zone, but being divided by this riverway, that's only going to further limit the real estate options. What's going to happen here? YKG is going to essentially turn the Mezexis situation around here. They have no one above them to regard or watch out for. So they're currently only worried about a 270-degree angle here. But if YKG Chico does end up pulling this northbound flank rotation to get behind Mezexis, it could spell just a world of hurt for them, as at that point they will be surrounded on 4 sides by Excuse, Passionfruit, the Canadian Eagles, and YKG. And we'll have to wait and see if that is, in fact, YKG's intention. But in the meantime, looks like NHyper's Kindness getting another takedown, a vehicle explosion of his own here. Oh, and here we have it. Bope Esports and Dark Esports. Now, Dark Esports coming off a pretty strong finish last match up against the likes of Bope. And Bope Ophelia, the team's heaviest hitter for the last round, already sending some utilities outwards, but not hitting any marks there. While Super does a little overwatch and cover fire while his teammate tries to retreat backwards. It doesn't look very successful. Ophelia swallowing those bullets and being reduced down to 1/4 of his overall health. Super trying his best to hold the opposition of Dark Esports at bay and give Ophelia some time to heal. But here we can see on top with a wide flank rotation that has been spotted, he does get the cover here, utilizing the geographical cover where it's possible. The landscape that can be all too savory when compound cover is few and far between. That's okay, because in Sandhawk, you can go prone pretty much anywhere and have some sense of cover. If not from the grass or trees, then at the very least, the boulders. All right, all the while, All Glory and NHyper preparing for blood. Now, as you can see, FSS a little bit further away, and Koi being fished out right out of the vehicle. It's going to be a fish dinner tonight, and it's going to be a little unorthodox. We're having Koi. But fate has met a rough fate at the hands of GK First, bringing them up to 9 kills and carrying on as a 3-piece. Koi desperately in need of some heals. Will he be able to do so before the inevitable advancement on the opposition? But actually, Koi is outside of zone, so GK has a real opportunity to stick this revive. I'm going to switch my attention a little further inbound into the zone where Mezexis and YKG hold opposite ends of the riverbank. We'll get it on Mezexis' perspective with 4 kills and 5 kills and carrying on as a 3-piece. We see Everest overwatching with that 3x M4, trying to get a line of sight onto 24K or Joey, but not really any such line of sight is afforded to him here. So that does leave us with a little bit of downtime. Ironically enough, on our smallest map is the first time we are getting that healthy resting time here. But here we have it. The Canadian Eagles have landed again. It's going to be an easy kill here for Baby Tang, getting the first of the team's kills. Now he is, whoever he ended up taking out, ooh, it's a member of Error Southbound, but whoever he ended up taking out was clearly out in the dead zone, and so he is on high alert for that guy's teammates. However, there are none left. Navi was the last member of your Executioner, but that is a little bit of info afforded only to us, the observers, with the 2020 vision. But I think this is going to be one spicy endgame. With this few amount of compound cover afforded to the participants, it's all going to be about geographical advantages and team numbers, as well as, of course, the resources saved. So Baby Tang just still not convinced that there aren't more late stragglers. I'm going to switch my attention to an All Glory Gaming member. It's going to be Gamma, who is holding an interesting gatekeep on none other than NHyper's Koi. Koi swallowing that blue zone damage in the process, but sending Hellfire onto Gamma, and it connects perfectly. That candle is burning bright, and then Gamma going out into the blue zone. Luckily, he does get this little bit of geographical cover behind this boulder, and him and Koi trade a little bit of healing time. Now they're both healed up a little bit. Gamma going to try to secure this boost, which he does so successfully. And now it could be a waiting game. All the while, the the Canadian Eagles off in the distance, firing from a distance, southbound. That's going to be on the likes of Dark Esports. Dark Esports probably was not expecting that, but Gamma taken down, and then Koi down by the play zone. Oof. I say it time and time again, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't care who you are, what tier you are, how long you've played, any of that. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has a higher KD than that blue zone. All right, well, GK first, driving like a bat out of hell, out of the frying pan into the fire, and he says there's no excuse. I'm going to go right into a 3-piece of excuse with just myself and my main buddy, FS. Sending a Molotov to try to hold Kai off at bay. It does not quite connect. Nades landing just by Koi, and it actually, landing right by FS. That first one didn't hit, however, the second one did. A considerable load of damage, meaning FS needs to prioritize a little bit of a first aid, met himself up. So GK first in charge of the overwatch and cover fire. In the meantime, as they advance upon Excuse, they're going to have to keep an eye off to their western flank, where Execute could easily hear those shots, and they're actually going to be engaging on Passionfruit off in the distance. So a little saving grace to NHyper, as two potential side formidable threats engage with one another. Well, Casper taking a little bit of zone damage. Trick actually knocked by the zone. Oh, I withdraw that. He's knocked by none other than Sixless of Passionfruit. Now currently it's down to Juancho and Juancho alone, as Sixless and Valak are knocked. Juancho desperately trying to secure a revive, while GK first on the main screen lays an onslaught onto Excuse with that DBS double barrel shotgun. All right, GK first still has 2 more Excuse members on his hands. And do we have other points of contestation? Yes, it does look like we might. WhyKayGee firing some warning shots off to their east over at Mezexis before really quickly having to engage with the likes of Passionfruit's Valak. Sixless still knocked. Juancho awfully hurt, but Chico swallowing that vehicle explosion damage. Very much in trouble as Valak secures that quick takedown. And now that blue zone is doubtlessly going to finish off his opponents, but unfortunately, the flip side of that is also going to thirst his knocked teammates. So Juancho out of the equation very likely, leaving Valak as the final passion fruit hanging from the tree. So, oh my god, these jokes are so corny and cringy, but I can't stop. I just need y'all to know I hear it too. I just can't stop doing it. All right, GK first, working his way in onto Excuses Draco, and boy, in the nick of time, securing that knock because he was swallowing that blue zone damage. And now, with another member to take down, it's 1-2-3 who just swallows that shotgun damage. GK first in full form, responsible for 5 of the team's 12 kills. NHyper is on an absolute onslaught. Bloodbath warfare rampage. All right. Well, we are down to 7 teams spread off across 16 players, and now the full 4-piece of the Canadian Eagles landing in upon the Dark Esports crew. It's down to Ronaldo on top and Amrit on top, coming in with a DBS in hand, but being shot down to 1/5 of his overall health. Desperately needing to heal. Ronaldo below half health, trying to provide the cover for his fallen teammate, and he does get the takedown with that UMP 45. While he tries to secure that revive, it leaves Amrit in charge of Overwatch and cover fire. All right. Well, Amrit's going to secure it. Surprisingly enough, he's able to do that. But with the Canadian Eagles being eliminated in that position, they really don't have any immediate threat. And currently, it's just Dark Esports and Mezexis holding the zone. As Passionfruit Esports makes his final stand, firing from outside the zone, Mezexis just outnumbers, outmans, and outguns him, taking him out of the equation. And now Skyline has a general idea of GK first location, and Crow is going to be a feast for crows. And that is Mezexis working their way up to 12 kills, and still with 3 players up, they are in full form, riding that confidence and momentum factor from round 2 with a very, very good shot at taking another chicken dinner. We are down to 3 teams, ladies and gentlemen. Mezexis, Dark Esports, and one hope in the form of Casper, the friendly ghost from Execute. Where in the heck is Casper? Let's catch eyes. He's got to be in the blue zone. Boy, oh boy, is he ever sucking up that blue juice and just swallowing that damage whole. Really trying to give a desperate go at the heal strat. Now, the zones are spec'd just to be inopportune for that heal strat, as it were. But, you know, that is not to say that it does not hold some advantage, especially as a solo. Those placement points can be absolutely crucial. Just staying alive long enough for one more team to be eliminated is extra points on the board. Well, if you're Dark Esports, you're down to half your starting lineup. Ronaldo and Noob, as on top and Amrit have been knocked. These late game utilities are crucial if they want to get those revives. Noob desperately trying to do it, but being a little bit vulnerable, and then that is that. Mezexis makes quick work of the opposition and secures their second first place chicken dinner finish in 2 matches. This is a Mezexis like I have not seen in quite some time, and boasting an unbelievably healthy 16 kills, ladies and gentlemen. Half of those kills were a feast for crows. I am obsessed with Game of Thrones, and I'm also obsessed with dad jokes. What can you do? Any way you look at it, that's got to be game over, and Mezexis is in full form. This is a Mezexis team like we haven't seen in quite some time, and I'm happy to see it. Dark Esports, another strong finish with 4 kills to their name and a silver medal second place finish. Not bad. Execute coming in third, and they're going to be doing so with 6 kills to their name, half of which go to Casper, who's also responsible for that late game placement points. NHyper does get 4th place, but boasting an extremely healthy 14 kills between 3 of their players. Those eliminations are going to do monumental difference makers in terms of kind of balancing out this scale. Yeah, they didn't get the placement as opportune as they wanted, but 4th place is nothing to wag your finger at. It's still good placement points. But if you consider the kill count of Dark Esports and Execute, I think NHyper is going to be able to make up for that placement deficit just with their eliminations alone. Passionfruit dropping into 5th this time around with 1 kill from Valak. The Canadian Eagles landing into 6th place with 4 kills, half of which go to Zara. XtremeSlayers Esports in 7th with 4, half of which go to Matt. We got Air Esports in 8th with 1 kill from Guru. WhyKayGee in 9th with 6. The XtremeSlayers in 10th with 2. All Glory in 11th with 1 kill from R.A. God. Your Executioner in 12th with 2, 1 to Hog, 1 to Navi. Bope Esports in 13th, but with 0 kills to speak of. 14th going to the Real Aces with 2 kills, 1 to Junie, 1 to Blank. We got INF Infinity Actually, hold on. Yep, Infinity, yeah. With 3 kills, 2 to Achilles and 1 to Lux, pardon me. Lotus Esports in 16th with 1 kill to Fishy. The TFC crew in 17th with 4, 3 of which go to Treble. The Criminals learning that crime does not pay in 18th place with 2 kills. B-Town Boys dropping in at 19th. And lastly, GAL, which is going to be supposedly Infinity, but yeah. So this is actually the Infinity GAL squad. The first one is Infinity Esports. The Infinity GAL squad in 20th and last place with 1 kill to Midnight. But ladies and gentlemen, those are all the different geographies that we're going to cover, but this is a 4-match final event. So we still have one more round to decide who wants that $450 prize pool the most. Where are we going to end it? Where it all began. Back in the very first match ever of Erangel, as we return for our 4th and final round of my very own Redeyes $450 Dead in July tournament finals, brought to you and sponsored by, for the very last time I'm going to be able to say it, the amazing Hunter of Gunmen and Glacier Gaming, 2 of the most selfless people that I have met in my entire life. And I know that they are just turning beet red every time I mention their names on this stream. I don't think they even like the attention, but I just cannot say enough good things about those people. The level of support that they have shown me in my event is, you know, just the most humbling and kindest gesture, one of the kindest gestures anyone's extended in my entire life. So I just want to say thank you so much to them. You guys kept my event relevant, and you made a lot of opportunities available to me through my event. I was hired through a lot of other gigs because of them. So a big part of where I'm at so far is in thanks to you. So thank you. As we move forward into the future of the Dead Month tournament, I got a special announcement to make. Maybe I'll do it in round 4, maybe not. We'll see. Stick around, guys. We'll be back in just a few short moments. A pool of trouble in the shape of Infinity Esports. And that's going to be none other than the friendly ghost Casper. And boy, surrounded. All right. Well, Jassa going to quickly reorient himself as his teammates come to join the party, but looks like... Actually, before I forget, ladies and gentlemen, there is one more thing. My amazing staff is actually doing live scoring, which I neglected to show here. So, let me go ahead and get this scores after round 2, as they were. The scores after round 2. So keep in mind, this last match is going to change up the nature of that considerably. Dun, da, da, da. Yeah, there we go. So, after round 2, the scores are... Dun, 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 dun. Let me just change this blending mode here. All right, so we got Lotus Esports, who were currently, I shouldn't say currently, after round 2, they were holding that first place spot 7 points ahead of Mezexis, but now Mezexis securing that second dub out of 3 matches is certainly going to add a change in the tides. WhyKayGee, who is currently holding 3rd with 20 points, definitely going to get knocked down a peg or 2 by Execute, who did get that late game placement as well, only 1 point behind him. And then NHyper, 1 point behind Execute. It's getting to be a close match, and I can't wait to see how that 3rd match changed up the nature of it. We'll be back in just a few short moments, guys. Stick around. We'll be back soon. All right. Well, Jassa going to quickly reorient himself as his teammates come to join the party, but looks like, yes, NHyper coming up to the party as well. FSS now has gained the high ground, kind of firing away, and potentially saved FSS from a side knot. Quickly reorienting himself and not taking attention away from Kiddu, and pretty smart of him to do that, because that 3-1 split can be very, very dangerous for a team like NHyper, who can tend to start seeing red and focusing in. They're not afraid of fights, so they definitely are barrel shotgun. All right, GK first still has 2 more excuse members on his hands. And do we have other points of contestation. Yes, it does look like we might. WhyKayGee firing some warning shots off to their east over at Mezexis before really quickly having to engage with the likes of Passionfruit's Valak. Sixless still knocked. Quancho awfully hurt, but Chico swallowing that vehicle explosion damage. Very much in trouble as Valak secures that quick takedown. And now, like this nade is going, or smoke is going to actually be giving away his location more so than helping him get some cover. But Crow reorients his attention down to Sixless and does secure the knock. Now, is that worth it here when he doesn't have the angle to get a kill and Lotus Esports is clearly the more immediate threat? Well, I'll tell you what, we will catch our eyes on the alt cam as well as Chico quickly driving up to face off against Passionfruit. Sixless just revived. It's just a few bullets into him to take him right on back down again. But look, fears Chico's only teammate. Wide flank rotation that has been spotted. He does get the cover here, utilizing the geographical cover where it's possible. The landscape that can be all too savory when compound cover is few and far between. That's okay, because in Sandhawk you can go prone pretty much anywhere and have some sense of cover. If not from the grass or trees, then at the very least the boulders. Alright, all the while, All Glory and NHyper preparing for blood. Now, as you can see, FSS a little bit further away, and Koi being fished out right out of the vehicle. And make sure you guys like and subscribe for more events to come. Alright. Well, now we've got the Lotus boys quickly advancing upon Mezexis potential here. Actually, I withdraw that. It's Crow working his way up to the party and cooking up a little bit of a utility here. Unfortunately, I do feel, pardon me, I do feel like this nade is going, or smoke is going to actually be giving away his location more so than helping him get some cover. But Crow reorients his attention down to Sixless and does secure the knock. Now, is that worth it here, Club and the low ground holders in B-Town? And, ooh, GK first taking a lick of damage and swallowing the rest of that damage right then and there. Quickly thirsted as to follow, leaving everything reliant upon Koi, Kindness, and FS here. And they are quickly retaliating upon the likes of B-Town as Katri is focused in on nades rain down upon him, and Katri is taken down from behind by none other than FS. Daku is the final hope now for the B-Town boys, firing away with that M249 LMG, but it is not going to be enough, and the close quarter combat annihilator from NHP Koi's UMP45 seals the deal. Also, we can see down south, a member of Criminals, in particular Pedro, potentially about to get flown on by the Canadian Eagles. So I will put that up on the alternate map. Alrighty. So, as you can see, Criminals Pedro shot out from the vehicle in front of us by Tony with a Mini 14. It is not easy to knock someone out of a vehicle with a DMR. That takes precision shots and maybe even a slower target, but the deed is done any way you look at it. So, proximity to Bope Esports, but it looks like they're probably trying to bow out of that. And understandably so, it's still very early on. So tell you what, we are going to go work our way down south here to this bridge. And, ooh, all the while I say that, it looks like Execute having a kill right then and there. Let's go check it out. Telly and Trick going in after the Criminals. And yes, Telly just firing away with that DP28 762 LMG, just bringing in the damage. And now Ronaldo is down to almost no health, utilizing the only cover he can behind that boulder, and Telly does secure the thirst. They give a desperate go at the heal strat. Now, the zones are spec'd just to be inopportune for that heal strat, as it were. But, you know, that is not to say that it does not hold some advantage, especially as a solo. Those placement points can be absolutely crucial. Just staying alive long enough for one more team to be eliminated is extra points on the board. Well, if you're Dark Esports, you're down to half your starting lineup. Ronaldo and Noob is on top, and Amaret have been knocked. These late game utilities are crucial if they want to get those revives. Noob desperately trying to do it, but being a little bit vulnerable, and then that is that up from since his teammates have been eliminated. Well, I'm going to switch over briefly, or maybe actually. I actually think I'm going to stay here. Now, I thought Tully was going to try to get the side angle on the final eagle, Mr. Quinny Poo. Mr. or Miss Quinny Poo, pardon me. But Anders of Lotus Esports potentially is, and I don't think Quinn's smoke here is actually helping him. It's blocking him from seeing Anders advancing forward. And this is going to exemplify one of those occasions where your utilities can be used against you. A pool of trouble in the shape of Infinity Esports, and that's going to be none other than the friendly ghost Casper. And boy, surrounded on 4 sides, he is basically the center point for bad news at this stage, with nothing but a melee weapon and a pistol here to hold on to and defend himself. Looks like members of INF in the distance going off. Now, just in case you guys are in need of a slot list, INF gonna be, ooh, well, regardless of who INF is, the friendly ghost. All right. Well, Emirate's going to secure it. Surprisingly enough, he's able to do that. But with the Canadian Eagles being eliminated in that position, they really don't have any immediate threat. And currently, it's just Dark Esports and Mezexis holding the zone. As Passionfruit Esports makes his final stand, firing from outside the zone, Mezexis just outnumbers, outmans, and outguns him, taking him out of the equation. And now Skyline has a general idea of GK first location, and Crow is going to be a feast for crows on the criminals. Now, I believe criminals were sent back to lobby fairly early on, if I'm not mistaken, with 0 kills as a 3-piece. If memory is serving correctly. I do apologize if I'm incorrect, but I'm pretty sure that's right. But it looks like somebody here taking down a Canadian Eagle. Yep, that's the Thirst on Zara. All right, well, Jassa gonna quickly reorient himself as his teammates come to join the party, but looks like, yes, NHyper coming up to the party as well. FSS now has gained the high ground, kind of firing away, and potentially saved FSS from a side knock. Quickly reorienting himself and not taking attention away from Kiddu, and pretty smart of him to do that, because that 3-1 split can be very, very dangerous for a team like NHyper, who can tend to start seeing red and focusing in. They're not afraid of fights, so they definitely are barrel shotgun. Alrighty, welcome back all you cutie patooties to our 4th and our final round. Ooh, you can't see that. Here's the current standings as they are after round 3. Mezexis holding a huge lead of 15 points ahead in that gold medal first place finish that they got twice. They are literally 15 points ahead of NHyper, who holds 36, 3 points ahead of the 3rd place holder of Lotus. And who's going to take it all home? All yet to be seen here. Anything's still possible as we enter our final match. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ending things where it all began, and that's going to be in the very first match ever introduced of Erangel. Everything we need to say about Erangel, we got it out of the way in round 1. So now all that's left to do is focus on the flight path and where teams are heading. Now we got WhyKayGee going to the Kameshki region, holding this coastal region, but they are not entirely alone. They have members of your Executioner relatively close by. So let's go ahead and get into the thick of it. I don't want to waste any time. We are now here with our 4th and our final round. So, ladies and gentlemen, ooh, pardon me, didn't even realize that the round number wasn't there. So I don't want to lose track of stuff. Now we still have 2 UC codes to give away, I believe. So let's go ahead and get into the next UC code. it is gonna be. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. CKEQZOOZJAQ. That is going to be redeemable at the link at the top of the chat feed. All right, so we have a couple teams in very close proximity. I'm going to switch over to B-Town versus Lotus Esports at the Pachinki region. If you got the guts to drop Pachinki, you deserve a little screen time. So, sorry about that. And let's get these codes off the screen. So, we got members of Lotus creeping a little bit closer towards B-Town as Fishy swims a little bit closer pardon me, I believe that was ironically Dark. The team player's name is Dark, okay, of B-Town. And I'm not sure if they are aware, but either way, the TFC crew in hot pursuit of Passionfruit, but also dealing with the looming threat nearby of Team 16. Team 16 is, of course, none other than Infinity Esports, closing in potentially for a third-party attack on whoever comes out victorious between Passionfruit and TFC. Now, Sixless taking a little bit of damage there. He's got himself that newly buffed VSS and trying to make quick use of it, but it's actually trouble finding him as he is taken out via Car 98. It was a battle of snipers, just completely different kinds. All right, well, Trouble facing a little bit of trouble himself as Juancho retaliates with a Mosin, taking the knock onto him. Dusku, Little U, and Murda remain. Now, Sixless is definitely going to be able to get revived from this because there was no real aggressive push onto them after that knock. So I am going to divert attention a little bit over to let's see. I guess we'll go in the middle here to where TFC is currently sandwiched in between the opposition in Infinity Esports and Passionfruit. All the while, your Executioner facing off against WhyKayGee, and I'll get that on the alt cam. All right. Yeah, we can see Joey quickly reorienting his attention. Whatever remained of WhyKayGee, or not WhyKayGee, of your Executioner, that's going to be just Hog driving out westbound, getting away from that confrontation and going to try to secure some placement for the team. All the while, Little U desperate for a revive on the fallen teammate. Dusku does so, get that revive executed successfully. I think we'll switch over to Lotus Esports then on the alt cam. We have a little bit of similar situations on the main screen and on the alt screen. On the main screen, we have TFC sandwiched in between Passionfruit and Infinity. On the alt screen, Lotus Esports is currently sandwiched in a 3-1 split from B-Town. B-Town's Daku, the Overwatch holder here, as you can see, trying to get a line of sight on Fetty. No such luck so far. All right, let me just prepare one last thing. Oh, Little U almost just got a little knocked, swallowing those bullets, but taken down to below half health. But as we know, is my little spiel here, as they quote in the scripture of Vin Diesel of Fast and the Furious, it doesn't matter whether you win by an inch or a mile, winning is winning. And if you didn't get the knock, it's almost like it never happened if they're able to heal right on back up. Let's go check out Passionfruit. They are about to face off. We got Zuko at the forefront of this with that UMP-45 in hand. Ooh, all the while Daku being eliminated by a Lotus member and Fetty getting the takedown on Dark. It is spelling serious trouble for them. All right, Zuko just holding position. It's a battle of patience between these two teams, Infinity and Passionfruit. Zuko holding the angle while Sixless potentially falls back to a position to cover and maybe even a wide flank. Look at Valak here holding the Overwatch. This is a slightly spread Passionfruit, but they're comfortable in the element. As Lux is taken down, Felipe barely able to heal up in the process, almost getting knocked himself, which would have definitely amounted to a push. But Sixless with blood on the mind coming in regardless. M4 AK combo. Pardon me, M4 DP28 combo. That AK was just for the ammo. All right, well, what's going to happen to Infinity? Well, Achilles able to secure a desperate revive on Lux in that little shack, while Felipe utilizing what cloud cover he can here. These utility smokes could be all that's giving him an easy advancement up to the opposition, firing away towards Zuko. Not a single bullet landing, almost counterproductively shooting by giving up his location here. And Sixless had his back turned to 2 Infinity members and suffered the consequences, but same can be said for Felipe, and now it's down to Lux, and Lux alone here, holding this corner, just desperately trying to hold the opposition off at bay as Hellfire crashes down around him. And yes, that candle is burning bright. It is a finish, and just like that, Passionfruit. Oops, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot to go back into mute mode after that I restarted the game. But regardless, great work by Passionfruit. Let's switch over to this northwest-bound 3-way love triangle between members of Infinity GAL, Execute, and Error. Infinity GAL has been reduced down to half of their starting lineup of Midnight and Broda. All the while, we got Execute just laying an absolute onslaught to the opposition in Air Esports as Casper secures the thirst with that Mini 14, bringing them up to his first kill and the team's second. Now, what's he going to do here on his own in a vehicle, just closing that distance between himself and Guru of Error? And quickly, that suppressor on this Mini is really a deadly combo. However, Guru, before getting taken down by Casper's shots, was able to secure a knock just before. Regardless, that friendly ghost is not so friendly, and that deed is done. And this is doubtlessly going to be a push by Execute. As you can see, Fate and Trick now hold the off angle, while Telly has an opportunity to take the focus. And yep, Deep, desperate for a revive, makes that bold push towards his fallen teammate Guru. And now Telly holding position and cooking up a utility, trying to trick the opponent into thinking it's a frag when it really is just, oh, it is a frag. Okay, that was a spectator glitch or something. It showed me that it was a smoke. But, oh boy, it's down to Deep, Classy, and Guru. But where is Classy? I guess, yeah, okay, Guru and Classy or Guru and Deep are right next to each other, so it's just showing up as one person on the map. Mezexis Crow feasting on the noobs. And, ooh, Deep is down. So, it's down to Guru and Classy. Guru is downed, and quickly thirsty Classy is all that remains at this point. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is the second longest running community tournament in North America, second only to a Rose League run by my buddy Shredder, but it's one of only 2 opportunities in the entire region to compete on a recurrent monthly basis against the Tier 1 professionals. The only opportunity you'll get for that is from Aftershock Media Group's Titan series, which is coming back this week, actually. This Tuesday, I'll be on camera duty for it, and they're bringing in that $2,000 prize pool again, so make sure you don't miss out. It'll be going down at 7 p.m. EST. That'll be Titan Series GG. YouTube.com/@TitanSeriesGG. All right, well, YKG, Joey quickly and bravely pushing on a 2-piece of Excuse, and as you can see, you know, those numbers are no longer against his favor as the boys have shown up to the party. Oh my goodness, this glitch is just a pain. All right, well, Draco trying to hold them off at bay, but as you can see, a YKG member driving behind him, and just ironically, the person driving behind him is Fears, and stealing a little bit of Fears in Draco right then and there. Where is 123? You can see him off in the distance, just approaching on the edge of the map. And Matt cooking up a nade as well. And here comes that oncoming, looming threat, aggressively pushing forward. It's Joey, and 24K raining a monster nade on Matt. Draco trying to retaliate with a nade of his own, but oh, no time as Fears and Chico lay an onslaught a thunderstorm of bullets onto him, leaving 1, 2, 3 as the final hope for excuse. And there's no excuse. You got to dip out of dodge and try to get some placement at least. While NHyper prepares to face off, I guess one member of NHyper prepares to face off. It's GK first up against multiple members of Bope. Uh-oh. What just happened? Okay. Well, I accidentally somehow did that. I'm not really sure how, but we'll tell you what. Well, we got a brief moment. We will pull this up once again on the alt cam while things are launching up on the big boy one. So on the alt cam, we see Lotus Esports just holding this edge of zone, working their way northbound. They might have a little bit of action ahead of them between Bope and NHyper, potentially even a third-party opportunity. Yes, rejoin match. All right. Okay, so here we go. Back into the thick of it we are. So Joey right up next to a member of NHyper, it's FSS, and they are driving parallel, working their way towards zone. And as you can see, Joey trying to lure FS to a trap from his teammates, but I don't think FS is falling for it, as he is at this point a little further away from his teammates, I believe. Let me get a little check-in on that. Yes, he is. Teammates just now trying to catch up, and he does catch that line of sight on the high ground holder, Joey. All right, well, Fetty of Lotus Esports could be a potential threat to worry about for them as he drives northbound over the likes of Bope, but he is primarily focused on working his way to reunite with his teammates, and understandably so. So where's the next bit of action going to come from? Well, ladies and gentlemen, while we did give away a UC code at the beginning of this match, hang on to the edge of your seat because we still have one more to go at the end of this one. All right, the real aces driving into NHyper, and Kindness, with anything but kindness, laying out the bullets onto TRA. And in just a matter of moments, it went from a full 4-piece down, or I guess a 3-piece at the time of their pushing, down to a 2-piece of Grumpy and Junie. Junie, desperately in need of that heal, does get it off in time, and now, with a thirst in mind, does secure it on FSS. So now, they are left here in what could potentially be a 1v2 if they can stop Kindness from getting this revive, which, boom goes the dynamite, baby! Junie just lays it! What a crucial nade there. Phenomenally placed. All right, that is definitely getting clipped. I'm going to title that Crucial Nade. And speaking of crucial, Joey with this SLR keeping the pressure on the real aces. Holding the opposition off at bay, and look at this. He's responsible for just one of the team's kills. 24K responsible for half, but what Joey is doing here is distracting the likes of the real aces just long enough here for Fears and 24 and Chico to get some secure high ground placement over the opposition, is my guess. Now, Chico is driving actually a little further inbound, so let me make sure that I'm not being crazy here. Yeah, I'm right. Fears with a pinnacle real estate position overwatching the entirety of the real aces. And now TRA gonna eventually have to move at some point, probably. However, both teams are holding position in this new zone for now. We got Chico driving a little further westbound towards the edge of zone, but whether he knows it or not, he is about to meet Execute head on as Telly lays ahead of him, but he hears the shots from Passionfruit and may even be vulnerable to a takedown from Execute if he doesn't know of their positioning. As you can see, he only probably heard Passionfruit's shots, but look at this hardcore parkour from Chico, this little roof ninja. He is doing some slick moves, all the while Fate of Execute is taken down by a Passionfruit member. Look at this, Juancho, responsible for 6 of the team's 8 kills. He is feeling that Berserker strat and just on the all-out aggressive. Passionfruit performing pretty well today. We got Telly sandwiched in between WhyKayGee and Passionfruit. He's got 3 Passionfruit members ahead of him and 1 WhyKayGee member to his side. So it's something to definitely be on high alert for, but that is with our Spectator 2020 Overwatch view. Here we have it as Valak approaches the party. Oop. Here we go. It's go time. Valak, unawares, quickly taken down by Telly and thirsted to follow, potentially. But he does get the thirst. However, revenge dished out on a silver platter. Now it's YKG and Lotus. Joey's gone fishing, and he does fish successfully. However, not before Fishy gets the takedown on Chico. Now Joey with the SLR, just laying out the single tap onslaught and still getting the takedown, but the third party from Passionfruit who holds the high ground. It is a tough one if you are YKG. You're down to 24K and Joey has just been whack-a-mole with a caster curse, leaving 24K as the final hope for YKG. And 24K has to drop his fallen teammate and prioritize a reorientation, a wide flank where he drives away out of the frying pan, away from Passionfruit, and potentially into the fire of your executioner. Stop being so slow and typing the code. Okay, well, I will put the code up when I feel like it, and you're lucky to get them, buddy. You don't have to stick around if that's how you feel. But I do appreciate you being here. I'll do the last code giveaway kind of when I feel like it. So, yeah. All right, well, 24K, the final hope for YKG, responsible for over 33% of the team's kills, desperately trying to escape the clutches of Passionfruit, the high ground holder, but driving out of the frying pan into the fire towards, ironically, his executioner, Hunter of Gunmen. All right, well, I think I'm going to switch my attention to see where the next potential threat's going to come from. We've got Passionfruit working their way pretty darn close by. At least one member of Passionfruit, Zuko, one member of a two-piece, was holding off and gatekeeping the likes of Lotus Esports, giving Juancho just enough time to work his way into zone. But Juancho, quickly spotting some loot crates from Execute, had to get some last-minute utilities. Now, we are down to 6 teams spread across 11 people for our final in-game of the event tonight. It's a 3v2v2v2 v1v1 to end round 4. All right, I'm gonna keep eyes on Zuko here. He is right up next to the looming threat, Ayuya, who actually is a high ground holder. Ooh, but he's in the little trolley. That's the first time I've seen that trolley advantageously used. Ayuya desperately trying to hold the opposition off at bay, but is that a nade? He spots a nade on there? What? And does get the knock on Juancho. Ayuya on a bloodbath warfare rampage. Just dealing an onslaught of bullets to Passionfruit and trying to go back to the trolley, get another high ground overwatch over the remainder of the playing field. Wow. I have to get that clipped. Rename hilarious. All right, guys, we're down to 5 teams, but only 9 people remain in those 5 teams, and they're about to face off right here and now as your executioner prepares to go up against the likes of none other than not TFC, the real aces. Junie, the high ground holder. We saw Junie make beautiful use of that utility, taking out 2 members of the opposition. I believe it was either NHyper or YKG. Either way, both of those teams are out for the remainder of this match. So it was a crucial change in the course of the event. It definitely could have implemented a different outcome. But as you can see, we still have Mezexis very much in the equation here at this in-game portion of round 4. So it will be very tough to get this first place finish away from them. And I say first place finish as for the event overall. They might not win this last match potentially, but even so, I think that they've secured high enough placements. Let's see how many kills they have to their name. Okay, 5 kills to add on to the board. It's looking pretty strong. All right. Junie driving out of the frying pan into the fire, and the fire is gatekeeping. That fire is Everest and Baton of Mezexis, and they are now getting their 7th kill, or pardon me, their 6th kill. Grumpy down, and ooh, Junie does get the takedown on Baton before being retaliated on by Everest. And now Everest has it all out in a 1v1 up against Blank of TRA. It's going to be a trade of utilities. Whose is going to hit? Neither. Not a single lick of damage from either's utility. All right, Everest working his way up. Here we go. He does have the high ground in Overwatch, but Blank does have this geographical boulder cover. Gonna enshroud his teammate in a cloud of smoke. It does no good. The mountain has completely crashed on him. It's gonna be an avalanche on his teammate. So now Grumpy's the final hope remaining for that, for TRA in terms of teammates for Blank. So guys, we're down to our final 3 teams. It's a 2v1v1. The Real Aces, XtremeSlayers, and your Executioner. 2v1v1 at this point to end our 4th and final round of the $450 Dead in July Tournament Finals. We'll get Hayuya up on the alt cam and go a little bit of a bird's eye view. Sorry about that. Yes, I do see that the graphics are a little bit better. That could be improved on my emulator, but I was noticing it was a little bit glitchy when I came in at the 2140 resolution. So I ended up taking it down to 1080. Oh, well, it is hunting season, and somebody just got baconed. And Hayuya is going to be eaten well tonight as he acquires his 7th of the team's 9 kills and gets the placement of 2nd place at the very least. And now in a 1v2, a very potentially doable altercation here, especially considering that he is the high ground holder. However, he is finding himself outside of the zone, facing off against Blank. All he needs to do is get this takedown on Blank before he can reprioritize his way into zone. All right. Oof. Blank being shot down to 1/3 of his overall health. Hayuya desperately boosting up here while he's got that little bit of time. He knows Blank's going to be healing, and so they trade a little bit of heals. But where is Blank's teammate in all of this? Seriously, where is Grumpy? I'm going to pull Grumpy up on the alt cam because this is almost a wasted opportunity on the Real Aces end as they surround their opponent there. It would be almost easy pickings to just utilize that BOA method as a 2-person and constrict on them simultaneously, just 2 angles of gunfire. You can only block 1 for the most part, as long as they're on opposite ends. So why not? Well, that potential is out the window as Blank gets 86th by the high ground of Hayuya. So it's Grumpy versus Hayuya in a 1v1 to end our final round. Oh my goodness, I couldn't even get the Let's Get Ready to Rumble before it was done. The dirty deed is done. Ladies and gentlemen, XtremeSlayers bringing in a phenomenal ending finish there. Congratulations to XtremeSlayers. Wow, Hayuya responsible for 9 of the team's 11 kills. That is a heavy, heavy backpack for him and very impressively done. So, wow, we got it. It's time for the final UC code. And yeah, this is going to be in thanks to Lightspeed Studios and Level Infinite. If y'all are ready, the link is at the top of the YouTube chat. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm desperately trying to grow that as quickly as possible. So here it is for the very last time tonight. CKEQZOPZRGA is the final 600 UC code to be redeemed tonight. Well, let's see here. We got your Executioner securing, the Real Ace is securing silver medal. Ain't nothing wrong with silver, with 6 kills between Blank and Junie. That 1v2 nade from Junie could have changed the outcome of the entirety of this event. Now, granted, I would be shocked if Mezexis didn't get the overall win after holding a 15-point lead before this match and making it to that in-game with a healthy 5 kills to their name, I believe, which they, as you can see, worked all the way up to 7 between the time I last tuned into them. Your Executioner getting that bronze medal, 3rd place finish, thanks to Hog, Hunter of Gunmen. Thank you so much again for everything you've done. Mezexis in 4th, but with 7 kills. I think that basically seals the deal considering the placement of everyone else, but we'll have to wait and see. Excuse in 5th place, but with 0 kills to speak of. Well, the Passionfruit dropping into 6th place with 11 kills. 8 of those 11 go to Juancho. Bope entering round 4 as a 2-piece, unfortunately. That's a tough one. Of Supra and Ophelia taking 7th with 2. 8th place going to WhyKayGee with a pretty darn healthy 11 kills to add to the, they were the final place to acquire placement points, I believe. So they're going to get that along with those 11 elimination points. Not a bad finish. Lotus Esports in 9th with 5. Execute. Oh, it's a tough pill considering how well they performed earlier, but still putting up some good numbers. I mean, I think Execute's looking pretty strong and solidified as a team these days, with 8 kills to their name in the 10th place finish. NHyper finishing off a little bit weak this time with 0 kills and 11th place. TFC securing 12th with 1 kill from Trouble. Air Esports in 13th with 2. 14th going to Dark Esports with a big fat onion for kills. We got Infinity GAL in 15th with an onion as well. Canadian Eagles dropping in to 16th place with 2 kills, both of which go to Baby Tang. We got Infinity Esports, the primary team, in 17th with 1 kill from Achilles. And lastly, in 18th place with a big old onion, 0 kills to their name. It's going to be B-Town with 0. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude it. That is all she wrote for the Dead in July tournament. Now hold your horses because I do have a special sneak teaser promo to show you guys. Now I'm going to be 100% honest. This video was not completed in time. I didn't get to finish the end, but I think it's enough to kind of add a little bit of excitement for those of you guys who are here for more than just the UC codes. You know, I think that this is going to be a look at what exactly is to come for the future of the Dead in Month tournament, and I've been holding on to this one pretty close to home and not really telling anyone. So, well, I got your attention. That's right. Hey! I've been waiting for so long to say that one. Starting next month, the Dead in Month tournament is going to be brought to you and sponsored by Kick Streaming. So, we are going to be kicking things into gear for August with a brand new Kick theme, a rebranding of the Dead in Month event, and there's going to be some changes. We're going to move things from broadcasting the finals exclusively on YouTube to maybe broadcasting exclusively on Kick, with some potential benefits if you're watching on Kick, such as those UC codes going to be typed in increments or released on the chat feed, potentially even doing a prize wheel for a few 600 UC codes exclusively to the Kick viewers. I can't wait to kick things in, and oh wow, that was accidental. That dad joke was accidental. But for now, that is going to wrap up Dead in July. My staff and I, are so thankful to Hunter of Gunman and Glacier Gaming for everything that they've done. One last thank you, guys. You are just, you know, kind of two beams of light in a world of pretty toxic people sometimes. Especially, you know, the community can be, they can make you or break you. And as we all have seen the toxic end of the PUBG Mobile community, it's nice to see the opposite end of that. The people who lift others up. So thank you again for everything y'all did for me for the past year. And now moving forward, we're bringing you August with Kick Streaming. So keep an eye out on my Instagram and join my Discord server at www.redeyesofficial.com. It's the only location to register for the Dead in August event when registration does open. So if you guys are on board with that, this was the 30th month of the event, making it the second longest running community tournament in North America. And one of only 2 opportunities to compete recurrently against the Tier 1 professionals. The only other opportunity is Aftershock Media Group's Titan series, which is kicking back into action and will be broadcasted, I believe, this coming Tuesday. So, or pardon me, Thursday. Thursday, yes, I believe. So keep an eye out on the horizon for some more Aftershock Media Group Titan series with that sweet, sweet proverbial $2,000 prize pool. Let's see here. We got the Chinese, Canadian Eagles in 16th. Yeah, we got all through all that. So yeah, all the scores done. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to waste any more of your time. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure getting to cast this. And I will see you guys next time for Dead in August. Have a good one. All right. Well, Jassa going to quickly reorient himself as his teammates come to join the party, but looks like, yes, NHyper coming up to the party as well. FSS now, all the while, it looks like Excuses Kai preparing for a gatekeep on Bope Esports' Ophelia. Ophelia trying to decide whether to work his way in by Excuse or maybe potentially a southwest wide flank rotation into zone, but if so, they would run into Lotus. Now, Ophelia is gonna face trouble from the big Overwatch champ here right now. He sees everything, and you can't hide. Well, all the while, Excuse facing off against NHyper and Kai. You know, it's working out in this position, and this Execute could easily hear those shots, and they're actually going to be engaging on Passionfruit off in the distance. So, a little saving grace to NHyper as 2 potential side formidable threats engage with one another. Well, Casper taking a little bit of zone damage. Trick actually knocked by the zone. Oh, I withdraw that. He's knocked by none other than Sixless of Passionfruit. Now, currently, it's down to Juancho and Juancho alone as Sixless and Balak are knocked. Juancho desperately trying to secure a revive, while GK first on the main screen lays an onslaught onto Excuse with that DBS double-barrel shotgun. Up from since his teammates have been eliminated. Well, I'm going to switch over briefly. Well, maybe, actually. I actually think I'm going to stay here. No, I thought Tully was going to try to get the side angle on the final Eagle, Mr. Quinny Poo. Mr. or Miss Quinny Poo, pardon me. But Anders of Lotus Esports potentially is. And I don't think Quinn's smoke here is actually helping him. It's blocking him from seeing Anders advancing forward. And this is going to exemplify one of those occasions where your utilities can be used against you. Down to half of their starting lineup of Midnight and Broda. All the while, we got Execute just laying an absolute onslaught to the opposition in Air Esports as Casper secures the thirst with that Mini 14, bringing them up to his first kill and the team's second. Now, what's he going to do here on his own in a vehicle, just closing that distance between himself and Guru of Error? And quickly, that suppressor on this Mini is really a deadly combo. However, Guru, before getting taken down by Casper's shots, was able to secure a knock just before. So let's see how many kills they have to their name. Okay, 5 kills to add on to the board. It's looking pretty strong. Junie driving out of the frying pan into the fire, and the fire is gatekeeping. That fire is Everest and Baton of Mezexis, and they are now getting their 7th kill, or pardon me, their 6th kill. Grumpy down, and ooh, Junie does get the takedown on Baton before being retaliated on by Everest. On Kindness firing away and potentially saved FSS from a side knock. Quickly reorienting himself and not taking attention away from Kiddu, and pretty smart of him to do that, because that 3-1 split can be very, very dangerous for a team like NHyper, who can tend to start seeing red and focusing in. They're not afraid of fights, so they definitely are eager for those confrontations, but in doing so, they could lose a little bit of attention on this off-angle holder, Kiddu. Luckily, it's GK first coming in from the back angle and taking Kiddu out of the equation. He is feeling that Berserker strat and just on the all-out aggressive. Passionfruit performing pretty well today. We got Telly sandwiched in between WhyKayGee and Passionfruit. He's got 3 Passionfruit members ahead of him and 1 WhyKayGee member to his side. So it's something to definitely be on high alert for, but that is with our Spectator 2020 Overwatch view. Here we have it as Valak approaches the party. Oop. Here we go. It's go time. Valak, unawares, quickly taken down by Telly, and Thirstia, who actually is a high ground holder. Ooh, but he's in the little trolley. That's the first time I've seen that trolley advantageously used. Hayuya, desperately trying to hold the opposition off at bay, but is that a nade? He spots a nade on there? What? And does get the knock on Juancho. Hayuya on a bloodbath warfare rampage. Just dealing an onslaught of bullets to Passionfruit and trying to go back to the trolley, get another high ground overwatch over the remainder of the playing field. But again, this high ground and elevation is just additional overwatch, and in this particular case, it's a 360-degree angle of overwatch. So it is a phenomenal position, only bested by 1 spot and 1 spot only, and that's going to be WhyKayGee. Now, keep in mind, when I say bested only, I just mean in terms of high ground. As you can see, NHyper is still slightly outside of the zone, but now firing outwards, I doubt that they have any attention given to Chico, who is about to steal some kills. We got Bope getting the takedown on Matt of Excuse. Just keep an eye on Infinity Esports off in the distance. Yeah, it looks like they are going to face off with the remainder of Execute, which at this point is Fate and Telly. Telly just quickly acquiring that vehicle, and after an amazing performance in round 1, them being reduced down to half their starting lineup is definitely a tough hit to swallow early on. But I do believe that, you know, if we learned anything from round 1, it's that you can't necessarily rule out Execute even as a solo. Ooh, but Zara was very much met with error by Air Esports. These dad jokes are on the equation very likely, leaving Valak as the final Passionfruit hanging from the tree. So, oh my god, these jokes are so corny and cringy, but I can't stop. I just need y'all to know I hear it too. I just can't stop doing it. All right, GK first, working his way in onto Excuses Draco, and boy, in the nick of time, securing that knock because he was swallowing that blue zone damage. And now, with another member to take down, it's 1-2-3 who just swallows that shotgun damage. GK first in full form, responsible for 5 of the team's 12 kills. NHyper is on an absolute onslaught. Bloodbath warfare rampage. Also, we can see down south, a member of Criminals, in particular, Pedro, potentially about to get flown on by the Canadian Eagles. So I would put that up on the alternate map. Alrighty. So, as you can see, Criminals Pedro shot out from the vehicle in front of us by Tony with a Mini 14. It is not easy to knock someone out of a vehicle with a DMR. That takes precision shots and maybe even a slower target, but the deed is done any way you look at it. So, just that, driving right next to the opposition. And look, NHyper forces them to take the altercation, but Little You with the takedown via the shotgun. Oh, but quickly retaliated on by the UMP-45, dished out. NHyper is not playing around. They came to absolutely win that prize pool. Under no circumstances are they giving up any of those easy kills. They came to play. All right, we got the likes of Excuse potentially preparing for an oncoming push from the southbound threat.